Good evening, all of you. I hope you all are doing good. So, in the last session, we have started with the discussion of the introduction to the income tax law, and we have reached to the conclusion regarding the classification of income into different heads. And as I've told you in the last session, that classification is a very, very big issue. It's a complex issue which has to be dealt in a very proper manner. So, what exactly we have done as a last part in the last lecture was debate between what will come under house property and what will come under business and profession. Okay, so we have done some examples over here in the last session, that a person is giving his house property on let out and then he's earning some rental incomes, then it will go to income from house property. If that person is a builder like Lodha, who is constructing the building and then selling, his main objective is construction, and then he's letting out his what, unsold flats, then that rental income will go to what, also under income from house property. And but if there is a company whose main object as per the memorandum of association is to acquire the property and then let out the property, and the substantial income comes from let out, then the rental income will be going under what? Under the head PGBP. Is it clear to everyone? Now, let's go ahead with further issues with respect to classification of incomes. Okay, I'm putting some examples in front of you with respect to classification of incomes. You guys let me know what exactly is going to happen in these cases. Example number 1. Suppose there is a person, say Mr. A, who has some idle funds. Now, he is investing that idle funds in fixed deposits. Okay. From that fixed deposits, he is getting some interest. Where will this interest be classified? Under which head? It's a very simple question. Where it will be classified? It will be classified under income from other source. It's a very simple question. But let me give you another example. Example number 2. I am Reliance Industries Limited, RIL, and RIL has idle funds, and RIL is investing that idle funds in what? In fixed deposits. And from there, RIL is earning some interest. Please tell me where this interest will be classified.
I think based on what we discussed yesterday, if the objective of RIL is to earn interest, then probably business and professions.
No, RIL is not a business, is not an assessee whose object is to earn interest.
Yeah,
RIL is an infrastructure company, petroleum company.
In that case, it would be again the same.
I'm saying, I'm very clearly telling you that they have idle funds. What has to be done with that?
Then in my opinion, income from other sources.
Where will it go? Palani? Vignesh? Income from other source. There is no second thought about it. It will go to income from other source only. Okay. Now let me give you the third example. It doesn't make any difference now whether a idle fund is invested by an individual or whether an idle fund is invested by a company. It doesn't make any difference. In either of the case, it is going to be income from other source only. Let me give you third example. Suppose there is Reliance Industries Limited and there is Maharashtra government over here. Now, Maharashtra government is opening a tender for making metro in Maharashtra. For example, Maharashtra government is opening tender for what? Making metro in Maharashtra. So, for that purpose, Reliance is also one of the bidder in the tender. Reliance has also bidded that. So, for that purpose, Maharashtra government has said Reliance that first of all, you do one thing, that go to SBI and make an FD of 500 crore rupees in SBI. It is your FD, you are going to earn the interest out of it. But in case after taking the project, if you do not complete the project on time, you have to give me what? A bank guarantee. Okay. So now the very objective of Reliance Industries to invest in this FD is what? Is to earn interest. Is to earn interest. The answer is no. Here, the very objective of Reliance Industry is to get the business contract. And therefore, please tell me, where will this interest be classified? Please tell me. Where will this interest be classified? Please tell me. It will go under PGBP. Is it clear? It will go under what? PGBP. Now, why we are doing such discussions whereby we are giving diverse views? At one place we are seeing IFOS, at one place we are seeing PGBP. I am not saying out of my choice. It is written in the law. Let me show you. Let me show you. Suppose if I go to the income tax law website, this is section 56. Can you see this? That is income from other source. And if you see this point number 1D over here, income by way of interest on securities, what is written ahead? If income is what? Not chargeable to tax under the head what? PGBP. Very important point. What is written over here? Income by way of interest on securities. If income is not chargeable to tax under the head what? Profits and gains from business and profession. It means what? Interest will be classified under IFOS only under one condition, and that condition is if it doesn't get classified under what? Please say. Please say. PGBP. It means that there will always going to be a dispute between what? Whether the interest will be classified under PGBP or interest will be classified under IFOS. So the answer is very clear how to identify that. If your objective of investing, is to earn interest, you are very clear that I am investing because I want some interest, then it is IFOS. But if your objective of investing is not to earn interest, but it is for what? It is for the purpose of getting benefit in the business, then it will be classified under what? Business and profession. Is it clear? Yes, please.
I have probably a silly question, but let's say we have a diversified conglomerate in whose MOA there is a clause that um, among apart from other things, I mean one of the objectives is also to earn interest for funds lying, I mean for working capital purposes or for whatever. In that case, I mean, just because it's written in an MOA which is very diversified because it is a conglomerate, the holding company, could we say that?
Maybe yes, we can say maybe if that particular interest portion is a substantial part of your business, maybe that is something which the question which you have asked is something which is a matter of debate. Okay, so maybe it might be classified as an income from business and profession. The question which Prashant has asked, I would like to address all of you. There is a company which has a lot of different subsidiaries, right? And suppose if their main objective, not main objective, but one of the objective is to lend money also. Okay. So whether that interest can be classified as a business income, maybe yes. Yes, it's a debatable one to answer. But yes, we need to look into the facts and circumstance of every case and identify whether it can be classified as an interest, as a business income, or whether as income from other source. Okay. So this debate was between what? Between which two head? This debate was between which two head? It was between IFOS versus PGBP. The debate which we did yesterday was between which two heads? That was between PGBP and what? Income from house property. Now let me ask you one more question. Let's see whether you are able to answer this properly or not. Pay attention, please. The question which I am asking now, it's a matter of pure interpretation. Example number 1. Suppose I am Mr. A. I have some idle funds. So I invested in the shares of certain company. And from those shares, I got some dividends. So my question to you all is, where will this dividend be classified? Please say. Income from other source. Without any second thought, it will be classified under income from other source. Example number 2, which I am putting in front of you all. Suppose there is Reliance Industries Limited. Reliance Industries Limited has some idle funds. So they are investing in the shares of certain companies and they are earning some dividends. Where will this dividend be classified? They have some idle funds, so they have invested in shares of certain some companies. Where it will be classified? Again, IFRS, idle fund. It doesn't matter whether it is a company or whether it is individual. Till the time you are investing in idle funds, till the time you are investing your idle funds in shares or mutual funds of companies, that will be classified as income from other source. There is no second thought about it. Okay. Now let me ask you the third example. Example number 3. There is a mutual fund company over here. Okay. A mutual fund company who is investing in shares of certain companies and from there they are getting dividends. Where will this be classified? Please say. PGBP. This is what your mind will say. This is what our heart will say most of the time, right? But this is not what the income tax law says. It says IFOS. And you will ask me why. Okay. Definitely you will ask me why. So that is the reason I told you yesterday that classification is not a simple issue. It's a complex issue. It's not that easy as you do in your office. That you see the P&L account of your client, pick up the incomes and put it in the respective head without thinking much. Or you see the bank statement of your clients and see that this is rental, house property, this is profit, PGBP, this is interest, IFOS, right? This is what you do, right? There is no debate. I don't think so anyone of you had any issues while filing the return. You ever had an issue regarding classification of income while filing the return? Did you have? I don't think so. But that happens in practical life. And that is the reason I said it's a complex issue. It's not a simple issue. It's not very straightforward. You will definitely ask me a question. Palani is also asking. Palani, please switch on your video, please. Is also asking, sir, why, sir? Why? Why is it so? First of all, I will tell you the technical reason. Okay. Then I will tell you the logical reason. I'll give you both the reasoning. I don't know through which you will get convinced. So I have to give you both of them. I'll give you the technical reason first of all. Okay. Can you see this income from other source? The point number 4 which you have seen, what was written over there? Income by way of interest if not chargeable under PGBP, right? It means interest can be classified in PGBP and IFOS both, right? Depending upon the facts and circumstance. Please say. But see the point number 1, dividends. I don't know whether you got the point or not what I'm trying to say. On the board, see point number 1, dividends. What is written before dividend or after dividend? What is written? Nothing is written. What do we mean by that? Please say. What do we mean by that? Always IFOS. Always IFOS. Whether it is earned by a small investor like you and me, we are very small as compared to what FIIs are there, right? Yes or no? As compared to foreign institutional investors and big companies and insurance companies, we are very small investors, na? We can classify ourselves as a retail investors, right? We are not institutional investors. Whether it is invested by a small investor like us or whether it is invested by a very big investor or very big dealer who is dealing in shares on a daily basis, irrespective of the fact, both of them will classify their income as what? Income from other source only. The dividend income is a specific charge under IFOS. This is the technical reason, because beyond dividend it is not written if not under PGBP. Otherwise they should have written here also, na? Dividend will be classified under this head if not under PGBP. Yes or no? But they are not writing that. They are writing only dividend, that's it. It means it's very specific to this head. You cannot move to the other heads. Now tell me, let me give you a logical answer. This was a technical answer. Logical answer. You cannot compare dividends with interest. Can dividend be a main source of income for any person in this world? Just I am asking you a general question. Can you depend on dividend as your main source of income? I'm just asking you a question. No. Why no? Because there is no certainty that whether you will receive or not. Yes or no? There is no certainty of dividend. Mutual fund companies invest in shares. Why? To earn dividend. No, they invest in shares of a different companies for appreciation of capital, right? But is interest a important source and definite source of income for a person? Is it a fixed source of income for a person? Interest. Is interest a fixed source of income for a person? The answer is yes. If interest would have been always classified under IFRS now, then banks would have closed from the very first day itself. Because the very source of the banking industry is which income? Interest income. Therefore, for interest, the government has kept it what? Flexible. Are you able to understand? For interest, it is flexible. It can be classified under PGBB also, IFRS also, depending upon case to case. But dividends will always be classified under which head? Please say. Will always be classified under IFRS. IFRS and IFRS. Therefore, we can say that there are two types of charging section under the income tax law. Listen carefully. One is called as, there are two types of charging section. One is called as comparative charge. Comparative charging section will always be debatable. One is specific charge. Let me give you an example. Comparative charge. Interest will always come under comparative charge. Will we compare or not interest with in under this or that? Yes or no? Dividends will always be coming under what? Specific charge. Yes? Please say. Likewise, I would like to ask you, lottery. Where will the lottery income come? If I earn some lottery income, where will it come?
Specific charge.
Specific charge. You don't have to think anything about it, right? There's no second thought about it. If a person says that it is my duty, it is my job, it is my day-to-day routine activity to buy lottery every day, then also it is IFRS only. You cannot classify your lottery income as your what? As your business income. That is not possible. There is a specific charge for lottery. Similarly, gifts, etc. received from friends, that is also always chargeable under IFRS. Like that, I would like to ask you some more questions. Where are profits chargeable? Think and answer, huh? Think and answer. Don't answer immediately, Palani. Where are profits chargeable? Is it a specific charge or it is a comparative charge?
Comparative.
Why comparative?
You have profits in IFRS as well. I mean, unless it comes under those profits come under the definition of PGBP. If those are just sporadic and casual, then
Profits can go to multiple heads. Obviously, profits will go to business and profession. More importantly, profits can also go to capital gains. If I'm selling my house, I'm generating some profit. That is also profit, na? To some extent, profits can also go to IFRS, right? Do you know that in case of, you would have also done it in your office, that in case of very small assessees, if a very small assessee is doing some business, then we show that income as IFRS only. Have you done that? Yes or no? Assessees who are earning some revenue of 4-5 lakhs in a year, profit of 2-3 lakhs in a year, we show that as an IFRS income only, right? We tend to do that. That can be done over there. Therefore, profits is also about a comparative charge. Profits and gains is also a comparative charge. So, therefore, there are two types of charging section. These charges will never have any issue. They are not debatable. But these charges will always have debate. They will be always having some kind of litigation. Whether to come under this head or that head, always there will be an issue. Yes, Palani, you are asking some question? Okay. So, therefore, we will be doing lot of complex issues with respect to classification when we'll be going to the respective heads once again. So, we are going to start with business and profession today after some time. So, we'll be doing that at the beginning of the chapter itself. But at the introduction itself, only I wanted you all to give you what? A brief idea about how classification is a complex issue. It's not a very simple issue, okay? So I have given you some of the examples. All these examples are definitely there in your books also. You can find them, all of them over here, like lottery, gift, dividend, rent from house property, etc., etc. And Chennai Properties and Investment Limited is something which we have done yesterday. Okay. Yes, Prashant, you were asking some question.
Thank you.
Yeah.
House property is also a comparative charge as per what we discussed yesterday.
House property is more a specific charge, except in one case where the Supreme Court has said in this case that it can be comparative also in some cases. Because of this, there is a dilution to other head. Otherwise, house property is 80%, you can say, specific charge only. Okay. This is only an exception. That is the reason, see, I have written over here, Prashant, these are the following are going to charge under the specific head, where I have written rent from house property, where I have created an exception of Chennai Properties and Investment Limited. Can you see that? A very good question. Okay. So after this judgment, now you can say house property to some extent is what? Is a comparative charge. Only in what circumstance? Where your main object is to let out and your substantial income should come from what? From let out, right?
One another follow-up question.
Yeah.
Since the case of dividends is somewhat similar, just only the fact that dividends is a bit more sporadic and not systematic. But is there any Supreme Court?
Yes, there are judgments. Yes, Prashant has asked a very good question. So now we are taking discussion to all together another level. It's beyond what is required at CA final, but I'm really happy that you guys are asking such questions. That will clear doubts of many other students also. So Prashant has asked, I understood your doubt. Sorry to interrupt in between, but I understood your doubt. Prashant is asking, since we are talking, we had also discussion about dividends. So whether this case will also be applicable to the case of dividends. If the main objective of the company is to invest in the shares. Yes, there are certain judgments of High Court. I don't remember about Supreme Court, but there are certain judgments of High Courts which says that if the main objective of the company is to invest in shares, and the substantial income is not capital gains, the substantial income is dividend income, then the dividend income can also be classified under what? Under, say, complete the sentence. PGBP. Yes, there are issues like that. Okay, but ICI has not covered those issues in your study material. So we are reluctant to discuss those issues at our end. Okay. Otherwise, practically, yes, there are issues where dividends can also be considered to be what? A comparative charge. Okay. Is it clear? Is it clear, Prashant? Okay. Now, coming to the discussion, that now we are going to start with our first topic, that is the business and profession. Pay attention, please, all of you. Now, whenever you will do any particular heads of income, profits and gains from business or profession, whenever you will do any head of income, the first section of every head, which I have told you yesterday, is about what? Please tell me. It is the charging section. This section will tell you when you will come under what? Under PGBP. Okay. It's very obvious and it's very logical also to first understand that when you will come here. Once you know that, once you are sure that you are classified under PGBP, after that you can do what? After that you can go for computation and all. Okay. So we are going to talk about the charging section today first of all. Charging section of PGBP. What does it say? In charging section of PGBP, there are two types of charging section in business and profession. Two types. So what are the two types of charging sections which are covered over here? First is called as general charge, which is covered in section 28(1), and then there are certain special charging sections also. So what is the difference between the two? I am not interested in the special charging section as of now. I'll be dealing with special charging section after at least 10 to 12 lectures, not today. But what is the difference, that I will tell you. General charging section tells you some conditions. If you fulfill that, you are covered here. Okay, and your income will be classified under PGBP. But if you do not fulfill that, okay, then you may get covered under what? Certain special charging sections. So first, as an assessee, you have to classify yourself under general charge. If the conditions of general charge are getting fulfilled, well and good. If it is not getting fulfilled, then there is certain special charging section. There are 6 to 7 special charging sections where you can get covered. So special charging section came because you are not getting covered in the general charging section. Is it clear to everyone? But we are not dealing with special charging section today. We'll be talking about after some lectures. It is not useful for us as of now, at least. Right now, 99.9% of the assessee will get covered over here. Out of all the assessees who are doing business and profession in India, 99.9% of the people will get covered over here. 99.1. 0.1% will get covered over here. So it doesn't make sense to talk about 0.1% at the beginning. We'll talk about 0.1% at the end, but we'll definitely talk. It's important. I'm not saying it's not important. It's very important. So today we are going to start with the general charging section of business and profession. I am writing the text of the provisions in front of you, and then we'll do the analysis of the entire provision one by one. Pay attention on the board, please. Profits and gains from business or profession carried on by an assessee at any time during the previous year. That's it. You have to fulfill these two lines. That's it. If you fulfill these two lines, your income is getting covered under PGBP. That's it. There is no second thought about it. Now we need to do the analysis of each and every word over here. Like, what do I mean by the term business? What do I mean by the term profession? What do I mean by the term profits and gains from business and profession? What do I mean by the phrase carried on by the assessee? And what do I mean by the phrase at any time during the previous year? Once we are done with the analysis of these terms, we are done with the discussion of what is charging section. Okay, this is CA final. You would realize that there is a great difference between what you have done in CA inter for charging section and CA final for charging section. Even though if you see this sentence, it's a very simple sentence. There is no complexity in this sentence. Profits and gains. Everybody know what is profit. Business. Everybody know what is business. But still, there are a lot of depth in every word over here. Every word might have some definition as per law. If it is not having as per law, then we have to decide as per general or common parlance. So step by step we have to go. Don't worry about it. The very first thing which we are discussing today is business. What do I mean by the term business? So the first question which will come to my mind is whether the term business is defined or not. And the answer is yes, it is defined in the law. In section 2, clause 13, it is defined. Okay. Now, how it is defined? Again, they have done the same trick of not defining it exhaustively, but they have defined it what? Inclusively. Again, they have defined it inclusively. So, what is the definition of business, sir? As per income tax law. Let me give you the definition of business as per income tax law. An inclusive definition. I don't know the meaning of business. I know the list of business. I don't know the meaning. You might search the meaning on YouTube or you might search the meaning on Google. But in income tax law, the meaning is not there. Income tax law believes in giving the list over here. So business includes, listen carefully. Business includes trade. Business includes commerce. Business includes manufacture in the nature of adventure. That's it. It's a very straightforward definition. We'll be talking about each and every term now. Business includes trade, commerce, manufacture in the nature of adventure. There need to be some adventure in life. Okay, without adventure, it cannot be called as business. Without adventure, it cannot be called as business. Adventure means what? There need to be some kind of what? Risk element in what you are doing. First of all, we'll talk about business includes trade. What do I mean by trade? What do I mean by trade? Trade means buying and selling. That's it. Okay? It's buying and selling. But every buying and selling is not business. That trade should be in the nature of what? It should be in the nature of adventure. For example, we all buy newspapers, right? I don't know you all buy these days or not, but earlier we used to buy. Now because of electronic media, we are not buying newspapers also these days. But earlier we used to buy physical newspapers. So what we do with that newspaper after 2-3 months? We try to scrap it out, right? So is it trade or not? In literal terms. Why no? You have bought the newspaper, you are selling the newspaper, it is trade, Palani. As per your definition only I am saying. You did not say anything beyond that. In literal term, yes. What you only said trade means what? Buying and selling. Did I buy a newspaper? Yes. Did I sell a newspaper? Yes. You did not add any conditions to your answers. Yes, it is trade or not? Yes, it is trade. Trade means buying and selling. I bought newspaper, I sold a newspaper after some months after reading it. But only trade is not sufficient to make it a business. That is what the government wants to tell you. The trade should be in the nature of what? Adventure. Was there any adventure when you bought the newspaper? Did you had any risk that I am buying newspaper? What if it doesn't get sold? Did you have that? I will throw it away if it doesn't get sold. Yes or no? I will give it to my mom. She will use it in the kitchen, right? Right? Or I will wash my car with that. I will rub my car with that, clean my car. I can do anything with that. There is no risk element in that, right? So every trade is not business. There has to be some kind of what? Risk in that. Risk of what? Risk of capital, risk of resale. Let's talk about very small businessman, a fruit vendor. He buys fruits. Does he have a risk? Yes, he has a risk. Risk of what? If it doesn't get sold, then it's a perishable product, right? He has risk. He is doing business. Loss of capital, yes. Therefore, there needs to be what? Some kind of risk in your business. Without risk, it cannot be called as a business. Similarly, business includes commerce. What do I mean by commerce? Commerce means when you do your trading activity at a very large scale, maybe at a national scale or an international scale, it is called as what? It is called as commerce. So trading at a very large scale is called as commerce. Then manufacture, everybody is aware of what is manufacture. But everything should have what? Should have a kind of adventure in it. Trade should be in the nature of adventure. Commerce should be in the nature of adventure. Manufacture should be in the nature of adventure. But still, this definition does not talk about certain important aspects. So there are plethora of Supreme Court and High Court judgments which define business at their end. The Supreme Court judge has taken the responsibility to define the term business. There are plethora of judgment I am discussing. I am just speaking on behalf of one of the judgments which is given in the case of Barendra Prasad Ray, which I have also read when I was doing CA final. It's a very landmark judgment which gives a better definition as compared to what income tax law says. This definition, as per this judgment of Supreme Court, this says that business implies a systematic and organized activity of applying labor and skill with a dominant intention of earning profits. So this definition gives us more clarity regarding what business is. Business is systematic, it's organized, where you apply labor, where you apply skill. And why the hell we do all these things? We do all these things for only one sole objective, that is to earn what? To profits, right? To earn profits. Therefore, this case law gives a different angle, which puts emphasis on what? That profit element is also important in business. If you are doing some activity and there is no profit element, you say that I am not interested in profit, then you are not doing business, you are a charitable trust. Yes or no? Profit is important in business. See, there are two types of hospital, right? One hospital takes money for profit, right? Another hospital takes money, slightly less money, not for profit, just to maintain their hospital. Yes or no? Because they get financed through some institutions, through some people, because they are charitable trust. Both of them are doing same thing, but one is doing business, another is charitable trust. Treatment is also different under income tax law. And you might be knowing that the taxability is also different under income tax law. The ITR is also different under income tax law for charitable trust. If you have filed an ITR for charitable trust, you would know that. Therefore, profit element is very important factor which income tax law is missing. That is the reason income tax law is not interested in giving what? An exhaustive definition. They are saying forget about it. We will give a very lame and very illustrative definition. Rest court and assessee will see. We are not interested in all these things. Similarly, now we need to define what is what? What is profession? So the term profession is also defined in section 236. It's also defined in a very, very, very vague manner. And it's just a one word definition. Huh? It's a one word definition. One word definition. Profession includes vocation. That's it. You can go and see the Income Tax Act if you want. It's a one word definition. Now you will obviously ask, what is vocation then? Anybody have any idea what is vocation? Or else I'll speak. Any activity or service. Okay. No. Vocation means in general term, as per dictionary meaning, vocation means any occupation requiring some kind of pure skill. Wherever there is a skill, it can be called as a vocation. You might have heard na, vocational training. Have you heard about it? Vocational training institutes. What do they do? They provide what? Skill to people, unskilled people. They provide skill to unskilled people so that they can go to the industry and work somewhere. Yes or no? So vocation means any person having some kind of skill. Sir, is the degree and certificate also relevant? No, not relevant at all. Absolutely not relevant. You might have skill without degree. You might have skill with degree. Example, Amitabh Bachchan has skill, but he doesn't have any kind of degree, right? Sachin Tendulkar, Virat Kohli has skill. They don't have any degree. Doctors have skill. They also have degree because doctor is a regulated profession. Lawyer is a regulated profession. Chartered accountancy is a regulated profession. But film artists and you can say cricketers, they are not regulated professions. They are not having any institute from where the cricketers will come. They don't have any institute from where film artists will come. So it doesn't matter whether you are doing what you are doing is a skill with degree or without degree. Is it clear? Okay. Now, there are some issues which I would like to ask you once again. Again, regarding classification. Okay. Suppose I have a warehouse. I have a warehouse. Okay. This is my warehouse. I am an owner of that. I own it. And I give that warehouse on rent. And I am earning some rental from that warehouse. Where will the income be classified? Prashant, the doubt which you have asked us just some time before, it is somewhat, I am not saying exactly similar to that. It will further clarify your doubt. Please tell me, where will this rental be classified? I have a warehouse. I have given that warehouse to someone. That someone is using it for, I don't know, whatever reason. You don't have to think much, Palani. There's nothing to think. Income from house property. That's it. There's nothing to think in that. So any building which you are letting out is income from house property only, na yaar. It doesn't matter whether it's a commercial or residential building. Does it make any difference? Does it make any difference whether it's a commercial or residential building? It doesn't make any difference. Okay. Now let me ask you second example. I am Mr. A. I have a warehouse. And I have given that warehouse, I have let out that warehouse to someone, to Mr. B. Now, along with letting out the warehouse, I am giving him lot of other services like pest control, like rodent control, like fumigation services, like security and protection services. And he's paying money for all these things. Now, please tell me, where will I go? So, he is paying me money for all these services along with obviously let out also. But I am giving him pest control. Pest control will also be done by me. Rodent control, if there is any kind of fumigation in your premise, that will also be done by me. Security, protection, security services, security guards, everything will be of mine. Please tell me, where will it go? The court has said that this should go to PGBB. Are you able to understand how diverse this issue is? The court is saying that you are not only letting out the property, your main objective is, along with letting out, you are giving lot of services. And these services are in the nature of what? Are in the nature of business. And therefore, the income which you are earning will be classified under what? Under PGBB. So therefore, it's a very, very complex issue. What will come under PGBP, what will not come under PGBP, what will come under IFHP, what will not come under IFHP. It's a complex issue, but you don't have to think much about it. Academically, they will not ask you anything beyond what we are discussing. They will only ask you those issues which are there in the study material. Academically, they cannot ask you new complex issue, because to understand a new complex issue, you need to understand the complete facts and circumstance of every case. What exactly is happening? It's very easy for me to say over here that it is PGBP, but I also need to see the component of service and the component of let out over here. Are you able to understand that? Maybe in this case, the component of service is far greater as compared to what the component of let out is. That is the reason the court has said that take this as what? As PGBP. If let out portion would have been 90% and fumigation services and all would have been only 10%, then the court would have given some other judgment. Are you clear? So yeah, they might have seen the ratio, they might have seen what is the tilt is towards where. The tilt is towards services, or the tilt is towards what? It is towards let out. So in practical life, you need to look into the facts and circumstances. You have to put the facts in front of the tribunal and the court. Then only based on that they can give you the judgment. But academically, don't worry. They will ask you the same facts. Don't worry about it. Okay. Institute doesn't go beyond what is there in the study material, because in short, their study material itself is a very big yard. That itself is very difficult for a student to complete. Forget about something beyond that at CA final level, along with 6 other papers or 5 other papers. Let me ask you one more questions with respect to classification. That will just open up our mind here. One more question. There was an assessee, Mr. A, who has a factory. It means he is a manufacturer, and there is a lockout in his factory because of some reason. Okay. Maybe because of some employee problems, employees went on a strike, etc. Okay. Strike by employee. So now he's very worried about, yeah, my machines will get rusted, my furnitures will get fumigated. So what he did temporarily, he let out the machineries, he let out the plant and machineries, he let out the furnitures to someone, so that at least it is in use, yeah. Otherwise, if the machines are kept like that for months and months, it will not be in use after a few months. Okay, machines have to be continuously used. So what they said, let's let out the plant and machinery and furniture for some time, yeah. So he earned some money out of it. What he thought, his thought process, what? At least I will get some money so that I can use that money for wear and tear of the machine at least. At least that much money I will recover here, rather than keeping it idle. What sense does it make? And the machines will also be in use. So where will this money be classified? Under which head? Again, there is a debate over here between two people. One is saying PGBP, one is saying IFOS. I have absolutely no issues in that. That is the reason we are discussing it. If it would have been very straightforward, we would have not discussed. There has to be a debate. That is the reason this has gone to court. There has to be a debate. And the court has said that it will go under PGBP. Why? Why PGBP? The court says that what is the objective of the assets towards its owners? For example, there is a laptop over here, there is a camera over here, there is an iPad over here, there is a AC over here, there is a studio over here. What is the objective? What is the responsibility of all these assets towards the owner? To earn money from me, for me, right? That is the reason I have put all these things. Now I have installed all these things, right? So if the owner is not able to earn the money temporarily because of some reason, and if he has applied his business mind, business excellence, business intelligence, business expediency, and temporarily let out to earn that money, that is his what? That is his business sense, na? Rather than keeping it idle. Let us let out that for temporary period rather than keeping it idle, so that at least we recover what? The wear and tear of the machineries. Yes or no? So the court says that this is his business intelligence. Rather than keeping it idle, he has let out the machineries for temporary period. Therefore, because it is his business decision, therefore the income will also be classified under what? Business and profession. Are you clear? Therefore, what is business, what is not business is a very, very diverse issue. Again and again I am saying, but they will not go beyond what we have done so far. Okay, they will ask you the same issues only in the exam. Don't worry. Now, all these things which I have said you so far, you will get the analysis of all of them over here on page number 1.1 and 1.2 till here. Okay, I'll just read it once for you all. so that you come to know exactly where we stand. Okay, the first thing which we did today was the charging section. 28.1, this is the general charging section, profits and gains from business and profession which was carried on by assessee at any time during the previous year. So far we have only done what is business, what is profession. Okay, we have not done the other aspects. We'll talk about that in a while. This is general chargeability under the head BNP. Further, there are certain special charging sections as well which do not fulfill the conditions of general chargeability to widen the scope of taxability. So if general chargeability is not getting fulfilled, then you have to go to what? The special chargeability. Okay. Now, whether a particular income will come under BNP will depend upon the facts and circumstance of each case. You have to look into the facts and circumstance of every case. But the term business is defined under 213 in an inclusive manner to include trade, commerce, manufacture, or adventure in the nature of trade, commerce, or manufacture. But this definition does not give us what? Any substantial test. It's a very, very incomplete definition, kind of. Whether an activity amounts to business or not. We need to rely on judgments given by court to understand the term business. Therefore, the Supreme Court in the case of Barendra Prasad Ray held that business implies a systematic and organized activity of applying labor, of applying skill with a dominant intention of earning what? Of earning profits. Okay, the profit is a very important term. It's an important element to call any activity as a business. Therefore, earning of profit should be one of the dominant purpose on the activities carried on to constitute it as a business. Similarly, what is profession? Profession means what? Vocation. Vocation means what? Vocation means any occupation requiring some kind of skill. Okay. And then I have put some issues over here. You guys tell me what will be the answer to this issue. Where it will be classified? You have to tell me the head of income. That's it.
PGBP because standard.
PGBP, right? This is not an investment income, right? This we have invested because we want contract, right? So I'm using some technical terms over here so that our answer should also look to some extent some kind of, there has to be some kind of fanciness in your answer when you write a CA final paper. It cannot be a very simplified answer. So I'm using some technical terms over here. Okay, at the end of the syllabus, I will also share the list of technical terms with you. You need not have to make a list. I have that list of around 110 terms are there. If you want, you can do an icing on the cake later on. First, make your cake proper and then you can do icing on that. These technical terms should be used if your concepts are very clear, if you are confident your answers are very clear. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense to use technical terms by giving a wrong answer to the institute. Okay, so they will easily understand that you are just trying to flaunt your English language rather than explaining your concepts. So you can use this. I'll let you know what exactly is the technical term over here. The interest income so earned is not an independent investing activity, right? Such deposits so placed are inextricably linked. Inextricably means it is closely linked. If you want to write somewhere, you can write it down. Inextricably means closely, something which is closely linked with the activity of what? Business. Therefore, it is chargeable under what? Under business and profession and not under what? IFOS. Okay. Second one. What will be happening in this case? PGBP. See, this is the way you are going to revise the subject from this color book. In 2 seconds, you are going to revise one concept. That should be the pace at which we are supposed to revise. At the end of the day, we should have the answer to one important question. Everything will boil down to one important question. What is that one question? Are we able to revise this mammoth a day before exam? If we are able to, we have done our job properly. Otherwise, no matter how many concepts you have done, if you are not able to revise a day before exam, it is of no use. Thirdly, please tell me what will happen. Again PGBP, right? Warehousing services subject to tax. But here, how can you say it is PGBP?
Services.
Yes, because here it is not letting out of only warehousing. Okay. It is along with services. Like which services I have told you. You can see over here. Which are the services? Pest control, right? Rodent control, fumigation services, security and protection. Clear? And fourth one is something which we have done yesterday. Okay. But Chennai Properties and Investment Limit says what? In certain cases, can it be PGBP? Yes, I am interested in explaining this case laws. That is the reason I have written this case law over here. Okay, because I want to explain. Otherwise, we all know that it is IFHP, right? That is very general. But this is a specific case, so I have mentioned this case over there. Okay, with the facts that your memorandum of association mentions this substantial income is from let out. Okay, okay. So let's go ahead to the next part. What is the next part of the charging section? Coming back to the charging section. The next part to the charging section is what do I mean by the term profits and gains? Let's talk about profits and gains now. We know business, we know profession. Now let's talk about what is profits and gains. Pay attention on the board, please. Profits and gains. Now, the law says that there are 4 characteristics to the term profits and gains. There are 4 characteristics of the term profits and gains. First characteristic, the profit should be revenue in nature. It means it should not be capital in nature. Why so? Because for capital profits, we have already made a separate head, which is that capital gains. So don't bring capital gains over here, yeah. For capital gains, we have separate head, we have separate computation, we have indexation concept over there. There are a lot of other factors. The tax rates are also different. So don't mix both the provisions. Yes. So in PGBP, what will come? Only those profits which are revenue in nature. Something which is revenue in nature will come over here. Okay. Second is a very interesting point. Shall I start? The profits are supposed to be real profits. The profits under section 28 clause 1, that is the general charging section, has to be real profit and real profit. It should not be notional profit, it should not be anticipated profit, it should not be deemed profits. This is what section 28(1) wants to tell you. My question to you all is, are there some provisions under income tax law which talks about deemed profits? Yes, Prashant. Are there some provisions in the law which talks about deemed profits?
House property.
No. Not house property. In PGBP.
In PGBP. I know in capital gains, I mean, if your sales price is lower than your stamp duty.
Yeah, that is a different thing. Yeah, that I know. That is also correct. But in PGBP, I am asking.
Yeah, presumptive.
Yes, 4480. Is it an exception to this? Vignesh, 44ADA. Is it an exception to this?
Yes, sir.
44AD says what? 8% of turnover. In some cases, 6% of turnover. Yes. 44AD profession. Certain specified profession says what? 50% of turnover. Yes. Yes or no? So now the question is, on one hand, I say that profits have to be real. On other hand, I say that there are certain provisions which say that no, it is not real, it is notional, it is deemed, it is anticipated. How come? How come? The reason is these are special sections. Sir, why? How can you say these are special sections? How did you come to know that these are special sections? I will let you know. Suppose if I come to these sections in my book or in the income tax law, wherever I want to go, I can go. Just see on the board, you don't have the book right now, I guess. Especially if you're watching lecture live. If you're watching lecture in Google Drive, you might have received it. Pay attention on the board, please. Some important concepts we are trying to address now. Some important concept building discussion we are going to do. 44AD says what? See the very first line. What does it say? It starts with the golden words. What golden words it starts with? Notwithstanding anything contained in section 28 to 43C. It means, does this section override section 28 or not? Please say. It overrides section 28. Therefore, it does. To this section, real profit is not a concern only. Did you understand? This section says that I don't care whether the profit is real or notional. I don't care. I will say the profit is 8% of your turnover, then it is 8% only. Forget about the real profit concept. Are you clear? So there are three types of notwithstanding clauses. There are three types of notwithstanding clauses. Let me tell you the three types. First, these are also called as non-derogant clauses. Non-derogant clauses. First, they will override few sections like 44 AD. Is 44 AD overriding the entire law? Is it overriding the entire income tax law 297 sections? No. It is only overriding certain series of sections, right? To be precise, PGBP sections, right? Second category, which will override entire income tax law. It means that is the king of the law, right? Nobody is anything in front of that section. Let me give you an example. Sir, show us one example of that section, sir. I'll show you. You guys also know about that section, and that is also a very famous section. You guys know about this section 43B? Certain deductions allowed only on payment basis. See what is written in this. See. What does it override? It overrides the entire income tax law. It doesn't care about any provisions of the income tax law. It is as big as that. Okay. So I can write an example over here of 43B. Third category of overriding section, which overrides, listen carefully, other laws also. Other laws, it means now it doesn't care about company law also. Now it doesn't care about Contract Act also. Now it doesn't care about Payment of Bonus Act also. It doesn't care about other laws also. Matlab this, it means that this law has got, this section has got so much power that this is bigger than any other law also of this country. Are you able to understand? Sir, any example of this? This I will keep as a suspense, which I'll be speaking after some lectures. But it is there in your syllabus and it is there in PGBP only. I don't think so you would be knowing it. If you know it, then you let me know. Anybody have an idea? I don't think so. It's not much in practice. Okay, hardly it is used in practice, but it is there in the syllabus. But these kind of sections we will consistently see again, time and again at different places. We are going to see this type of questions. That this is the reason we say that you should go for a regular batch, because in regular batch we get time to discuss these aspects. In fast track batch, I will say that this is the provision, this section override that, how it overrides, what are the types, that time we don't have in a fast track batch. Obviously, time is a constraint over there. But being a CA Fan student, you should be aware of all these things here. All these things are practically useful over the years, over the next 10 years, over the next 20 years. What is going to help you is your knowledge, nothing else. Anyways, coming to the discussion. Profits and gains are real profits. Okay, but can the government override this concept of real profits? Yes, they can. And they have by making 44 AD, 44 ADA. Then it's one more section 44 AE, which is for that truck wala people. Do you remember that? 7,500 per month. Do you remember? You might have done in CA Inter if you remember. Say if you have a truck, if you have a goods carriage, then your deemed income is 7,500 per month per vehicle, right? So that is also there. That is also presumptive income. So third characteristic. So first characteristic was profit should be revenue. Second characteristic, profit should be real. To charge under 28(1), it has to be real. But if it is getting charged under 44 AD and ADA, it may be fictional. Yes? Third category. Third characteristic. And in the third characteristic, it's a very simple point. So I'm just saying that very fast. The profits may arise in cash or in kind. Okay? The consideration from the customer you might receive in cash. Cash means monetary terms. You might also receive in non-monetary terms. It doesn't matter. Either of them will be chargeable to tax. Okay, there is nothing great in this point. Now, the fourth point, you guys might have some kind of problem when I say this point. So, we can have a conversation on that. We can have a discussion on that. The profits may arise from legal or illegal business. Now, if you have any question, you can ask me. Profits may arise from legal business or it may arise from illegal business. Now, you might say that how the hell you can say this, sir? Illegal business. How the government can promote illegal business? I am not saying the government is promoting illegal business. I am saying the government will take tax from illegal business also. Is it a correct statement or incorrect?
It's for other laws to decide how to prohibit illegal activities, but for this, if it's not taxed, it's actually beneficial to the guy who is conducting that illegal business.
Definitely, it should be taxed, right? It should be taxed or not, Palani? It should be taxed, na? Definitely, it should be. Because if you are not taxing them, then we are encouraging them, na? Do illegal business. Let me give you a very simple example which will clear everything from our mind. Suppose if you are in Gujarat, you might be knowing in Gujarat alcohol is prohibited. It is banned, right? It is banned in Gujarat. It is not allowed to purchase or sell or consume liquor in Gujarat. That doesn't mean that they don't do so. Gujarat is, I am from Gujarat only, so I know it better. My native place is Gujarat only. So even though it is banned officially, but it is one of the highest consuming state. I'm not saying that it is number one in the country, but it is in the top 5 states when it comes to consuming alcohol in the country, even though it is banned over there. So coming back to the discussion now. So if some person is found over there selling alcohol, and if the police has caught that person, and the police is asking him, where the hell you have got so much money? So he is accepting that I have got this money by selling alcohol. Whether CBDT will go or not, whether the income tax department will go or not to claim their share. Yes or no? Even though selling alcohol is what? Illegal in Gujarat. That doesn't mean that you will be escaped from paying taxes. You will be liable to pay tax. In fact, you will be liable to pay interest and penalty also for what? For evading the tax. Okay. So illegal does not mean that the government is promoting you to do illegal business. Illegal means if you are caught doing an illegal business, then definitely you will also be equally responsible for paying what? Paying the taxes. Is it clear to everyone? What is the next point? What is the next point in the charging section? Just a second, Prashant. Yes, please ask.
Sorry. Are these 4 principles of profits and gains, are these like judgment based or?
They are judgment based. They are judgment based. So Prashant has asked a question, are these 4 principles of profits, are they mentioned in the law? They are not mentioned in law. They are judgment based. Okay. They are something which is a general principle which is followed by the industry over the years, which is based on lot of judgments. Okay. They are not mentioned they are not defined. That is the reason I did not mention any section before telling you that profits and gains is defined. Profits and gains is not defined anywhere. Okay. It is judgment based. Coming to the discussion. Carried on by the assessee means what, sir? We have done business, we have done profession, we have done profits and gains. Sir, what do you mean by the term carried on by an assessee? It means everything should be done by assessee only. Is it so? The answer is no, obviously. Everything cannot be done by assessee. Carried on by the assessee means the business or the profession is in the control of the assessee. The decision maker of the assessee, the right to take decision is with the assessee. Let me give you an example. If any of you practice in international tax or if you have a foreign clients, you might be knowing that if a non-resident wants to do business in India, they have to appoint an agent in India. Are you aware of that? If you have done any work relating to what? Foreign clients, then you might be knowing it, or else you might not know. You will learn in CA final, don't worry. So if there is a non-resident, say for example Apple INC, does Apple operate in India? What is the scope of their operation? Yes, Palani has said they have a store. Where they have a store? They have a store in Mumbai? Yes, very recently. Bangalore also it is open? Delhi it is open, I know, but Bangalore I'm not aware. Maybe it is. Bangalore I'm not sure, Pelani. I think so they are about to open, or I don't know whether they have opened. But Mumbai, Delhi I'm sure. Just 2-3 months back they have opened it. Okay, so they operate in India, right? Apart from that, what they have in India? Do they have manufacturing? Do they have manufacturing in India?
Now Tata's news today is setting up a.
No, does Apple manufacture iPhones in India? Yes, yes, Palani, you are not aware of that. Since 2019, they are manufacturing some models of iPhones. They have outsourced that to a company known as Foxconn in India. But they have started to manufacture. You can see that some of the iPhones are having a tag made in India. It is there. They have started. So earlier they used to not. Till 2018-19, they used to not. But now they have shifted some of the plants from China to India, and they are planning to shift entirely to India. So Apple operates in India. So obviously they have to do a lot of things in India. They have to fulfill a lot of regulations in India. So they have to mandatorily appoint an agent as per income tax law, section 161, section 163, etc. These are the section which says that a non-resident operating in India need to have an agent in India. Now, obviously, who is doing business over there? Most of the operations are taken care of by the agent over here. But still, the SSC is not agent. Who is the SSC? The SSC is Apple. Why? Because he has the right and the control on the business. Agent cannot do anything on its own. It is the Apple who is going to tell agent, right? That what exactly is to be done, what has to not to be done. Obviously, a regulations point, agent will guide him. But operational points, obviously, Apple will tell him what exactly has to be done. So carried on by SSC does not mean that everything you have to do. You have to control the business. The control of the business has to be in your hands. Rest the operations can be outsourced to somebody else also, it's all fine. Like at most of the places, Apple does what? Most of the things Apple doesn't do. Just for your sake of your knowledge, the iPhones which they make, displays are not made by Apple. Displays are of Samsung. The biggest rival of Apple makes what? Makes the display for Apple. So that is very shocking. That why doesn't Samsung make such kind of display for his own customers? Because it will be expensive for him. He cannot charge so much of premium from his customers. That is the reason they don't make such kind of displays for them. But all the displays are made by Samsung only. And in India also do that. They do that because in India, Samsung has, I don't know whether you are aware of not, in Noida, they have world's largest factory. World's largest factory of Samsung is in India in Noida. Very recently they have opened. That is also before COVID only. So the point I'm trying to say over here is carried on by SSC need not means that you have to do everything. You have to be in the control of the business. That's it. That is the meaning of the term carried on by SSC. And the last phrase over here, at any time during the previous year. The word any time is very important over here. It means you are not supposed to do business throughout the year. It may be for some parts of the year. It may be for some months during the year. It depends upon the nature of product also. For example, if I'm selling a pen, then I might be doing business throughout the year. I might buy pen every day, then sell every day, buy every day, sell every day. But if I am dealer in Rolls Royce, then maybe I am selling Rolls Royce once a year or twice a year. one car might get sold in 1 year or one car might get sold in 2 years. I have to wait for that much for one particular car. For that, I have to keep a showroom also. I have to bear the infrastructure cost also, all those things. So therefore, at any time during the previous year means frequency in which you do the business doesn't matter. Like my schedule, I will share it with you all. My schedule is very simple. This month, next month, next month. 3 months I'll be taking the batch. Then I will relax for 9 months. That is my schedule for the entire year. For 9 months, I do other work. I'm not relating to teaching. I have other things also to do. But my major teaching period is these 3 months. That doesn't mean that I'm not doing my business or profession. I'm doing at any time during the previous year, I'm doing for 3 months. For rest of the period, I'm doing other things. Still, I'm chargeable under what? Business and profession only. So that is the reason the government has said, yeah, at any time during the previous year. They have not written the word throughout the previous year. Okay. Throughout, if they would have written throughout, then that could have been manipulated very easily. People would have not done the business for the entire year. If they want to get escape from this head, they would say that it is written throughout. Why will I do business for the entire year? So the government says, no, it is not necessary to do business throughout the year. Even if you do the business for some time during the previous year, it is classified under what? Business and profession only. Okay. So this is what this charging section is all about. Now, if you do not get covered over here, when you cannot get covered over here, say for example, if your profits are capital profits, can you get covered over here? Please tell me. You cannot get. Then you may go for what? Special charging section. You have to check the special charging section. That will do sometime. That will do sometime later. At right now, I don't want to mix up all the provisions together. Okay. Now, suppose after reading this particular section, we are 100% sure that we are covered under PGBP only. We are sure now. Okay. There are two possibilities. After reading this section, either you are 100% sure that you are not in the part of this section, or you are sure that you are a part of this section, right? You have to take one of the two decisions now in practical life. Either you are a PGBP associate or you are not a PGBP. You have to take one of the two decisions. Suppose we have taken the decision that yes, we are doing business only. Now, what should be the next step? What should be the next step being a taxpayer? Please say. Once we are sure that this is PGBP, what should be the next step? Computation, right? So for that, there is next section, section 29, which talks about how to compute what? PGBP income. And such an important question, and the answer is such a vague answer. Just see now, as per the income tax law. Income tax says that in accordance with section 3243D, full stop, that's it. When I asked such an important question, Reliance Industry is asking a question how to compute PGBP. Income tax department is saying go and study section 3243D, you will come to know. It's a very vague answer. They don't have a proper computation format, unlike other heads. If you go to house property, in house property, does the department give a proper computation format? GAV, municipal tax paid, NAV, 30%, interest, then house property. Like in capital gains, does the government give you a proper format? Full value of consideration minus expenses on transfer, net consideration, cost of acquisition, index cost of acquisition, cost of improvement, index cost of improvement, capital gains, long term, short term, whatever. You have a format. But in PGBP, we don't have any format. They are not interested in giving us any kind of format in PGBP. Let's assume that we have read section 3243D. Assume that. We have not done anything so far, but let's assume that we have done it. What is there in section 3243D? Please, can you give me an idea? It has two kind of provisions mainly. One is deductions, one is disallowance. Income is not there in section 3243D. Income is there. Some incomes are there, deemed incomes. Main income is there in section 28, which will get covered in section 28. But major two types of provisions are there in 3243D. Income is also there, deemed income is there to some extent. One is deduction, one is disallowances, right? That you cannot pay more than 10,000 in cash, you cannot pay excess to your relatives, you have to deduct TDS, otherwise we will disallow your expenditure. Yes or no? Such kind of provisions are there or not in the income tax law? Yes, it is there. Let's assume that we have done all of them. Let's assume. We know 3243D inside out. So what to do after that? How will I compute PGBP income? By just knowing the provisions. That doubt will come or not to our mind. We know that this is the depreciation deduction, this is the deduction of rent, this is the deduction of electricity, this is the deduction of bad debts, this is the deduction of interest. We know everything. But again, the same question will arise. How will we compute PGBP by just knowing the deductions? Do we not need a P&L account before that? All of you might have computed business income in your office. Okay, if you practice in income tax. Can you compute business income without P&L? Forget about presumptive cases. I'm not talking about presumptive cases. In presumptive case, though, we don't want P&L only. Directly we take 28%, 6%, 50%, right? I'm not talking about presumptive cases. I'm talking about normal cases. Do we need a P&L or not? Absolutely yes. Without a P&L, we are helpless. We are handicapped. We cannot imagine making what? Making a PGBP income. Therefore, how to compute PGBP? That is a secondary question. Before that, you have to make a P&L. And to make a P&L, there is a separate section which talks about maintenance of books of accounts under income tax law. That is section 145. And this section has 3 subsections. Pay attention, please. Subsection 1, subsection 2, subsection 3. Pay attention, please. The first subsection says that all these things are there in the book. Don't worry. Whatever is not there in the book, I will make you write. Don't worry. Okay. There is hardly if there is some complex concept which I feel that yes, you should write, then I will definitely give you time. Pay attention, please. Everything is there in the book. The department says there are 3 subsections over here in section 145. The department says that before going to compute the PGBP income, make a P&L first. How should I make P&L? In subsection 1, it says that if you are an PGBP assessee or if you are an IFOS assessee, then maintain books of accounts. Maintain books of accounts as per mercantile basis or cash basis. Whichever is what? Regularly followed by assessee. So the very first thing, here the income tax department is saying it is taking a diversion from your accounting standards. And how it is a diversion? Because here it is telling you to follow the books of accounts on what basis? Does accounts allow you to follow books of accounts on cash basis? Does accounts allow you to follow books of accounts on cash basis? Absolutely a big no. Accounts only follows what? Mercantile system. Mercantile means accrual system. But tax give you both the options. But you cannot take undue advantage of this option. Whatever option you are opting, you have to what? Please tell me. One important word is used over here. You have to regularly follow that. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose in this year, there's a lot of money which has come to bank account. Okay? So you will switch to accrual system. Suppose in next year, less money was received in bank account, but more money was accrued. So you will switch to cash system. Right?
We could also manipulate it.
Yes, we can manipulate like this, right? So you cannot regularly switch. Yes, you can switch after a few years, say maybe after 4 or 5 years, if you want to switch, you can switch it. And that is the reason there is a dedicated clause in tax audit report. If you go and see, have you changed your method of accounting? If yes, right here. In one of the clause it is mentioned. Okay. But don't change. Doesn't make sense. 99.9% of the assessee in practical life follow what? Mercantile only. Cash is something which is followed by very small assessees, okay, who don't want the headache of accrual system, okay. In cash system, it is very straightforward. You take your bank account, whatever is received is your income, whatever is paid is your expense, difference is profit, that's it, okay. But in accrual system, there is a lot of issue. You have to see the outstanding issues, you have to see the payment issues, so on and so forth. Now, the second thing is, if you are following mercantile, so does mercantile system has different kind of accounting standards? In India also there are 2 types of accounting standards which are followed by companies. Some of them follows what? ICDS. Sorry, some of them follows Ind AS. Some of them follows accounting standard, because Ind AS is still not mandatory for every assessee, na? It is only applicable, I guess, to all those people who have a net worth of more than 250 crore, I guess, right? Somewhere around that. I don't know the exact limit, but there is some limits for whom Ind AS is mandatorily applicable. All the companies below that may not follow Ind AS, right? They may follow accounting standards. Correct, na? Therefore, the income tax law says that if you are following mercantile, then you have to follow the standards notified by CBDT. And what CBDT has notified? Because there has to be some consistency across all assessees. Some of them are following Ind AS, some of them are following AS, some of them are following IFRS. Because if a foreign company is there, that company will follow what? That company will follow IFRS, right? Why they will follow Ind AS and AS? Right? Because they will be reporting in their country, not here. So for income tax purpose, the CBDT says that we are not interested in all these accounting standards given by ICA. We want you all to follow ICDS. The full form of ICDS is Income Computation and Disclosure Standards. We want you all to follow this. So CBDT has notified its own standards. Now CBDT is not dependent on ICAI or company law or Ministry of Corporate Affairs. They are not dependent on that. So CBDT said that we want to notify our own standards. Now what is the reason behind notifying it? Let us try to understand, shall we? What is the need? If there are already accounting standards, why the hell you are making it complicated? Why they want to notify separate ICDS for taxation? The reason is very simple, because the objective of accounts and the objective of tax is exactly opposite to each other. Let me ask you a question. Suppose there is an assessee and there is government over here. I have a question to you all. As per a tax, what will be the objective of the assessee? To increase the profit or to reduce the profit? To reduce the profit, right? What will be the objective of the government? To increase the profit, to maximize tax collection, right? Let's come to accounts. As per accounts, what is the objective of the assessee? To increase the profits, because increase in profits will lead to increase in wealth of the shareholders, right? Because ultimately increase in profits will have an impact on EPS, and that will have an impact ultimately on the market price, right? But what would be the objective of the company law and the ICAI and the accounting standard board? What do they follow? They follow prudence in booking profits, right? They say that do not book profit unless and until you are sure, etc., etc., etc. So can you see that the objective of tax and objective of accounts is exactly opposite? Can you see that? So if the objective of two laws are exactly opposite to each other, how can same standards can run for both the laws? Are you clear? How can same standard run for both the laws? Let me give you one of the example with standard now. Shall I? Say accounting standard 9. What does accounting standard 9 all about? It's about revenue recognition, right? Now what does accounting standard 9 says? That you should not recognize a revenue unless you are reasonably certain that you will receive it, right? Am I correct in my statement? You need to have reasonable certainty that you will receive it. Then only you have to recognize the revenue. Now that looks good in accounts. Okay. But CBDT will be very, very unhappy with that statement. Because CBDT will say that because of your reasonable uncertainty, we are not getting taxes. Yes or no? So CBDT said that we don't believe in reasonable uncertainty concept. We have brought our own ICDS and we will deal according to our ICDS. Okay. So that is the reason in 2015 CBDT notified its own ICDS and said that we will be dealing as per the R ICDS. We are not interested in the accounting standard. Okay. Shall I go ahead with the third subsection? I may not be able to speak much about the third subsection because that is related to something which is in relation to assessment procedure. But still, if you have done assessment procedure in office, you might be knowing it, or else you can ignore this point. But still, I'll speak once at my end. The third subsection says that if you violate subsection 1 or subsection 2. First of all, what do I mean by violation of subsection 1? Please tell me. It means you are not regularly following the method of accounting, right? That is violation. What do I mean by violation of subsection 2? It means you are not following the ICDS standards, right? Then the assessing officer will do best judgment assessment under section 144. Are you aware of this? There are two types of assessments mainly. One is regular assessment, one is best judgment. Regular assessment is a very normal assessment whereby the department will ask you questions, you have to reply them, and there is a very good understanding between assessee and the officer, because the assessee is cooperative over there. But in best judgment assessment, the AO does not care about what you say. He will do the assessment to the best of his judgments, to the best of his knowledge, as per section 144. And how it is done, that we'll see in the chapter of assessment. Don't worry. So, best judgment assessment. He will do against you if you violate subsection 1 and subsection 2. We will have a great discussion on this sometime later. I don't want to speak much about it as of now. Okay. So, this is what this provision is all about. So, without this provision, you cannot think about what? Computing PGBP income. So, what does the income tax law says that? Make books of accounts, cash or mercantile, whatever you want to follow. Follow ICDS and then leave it on section 30 to 43D, right? Then do your adjustments, what you want to add, what you want to reduce, what is allowed, what is disallowed, so on and so forth. Is it clear to everyone? Okay? Yes, please, Prashant.
Section 145, does it only talk about books of accounts or also of the year-end statements?
No, it only talks about books of accounts. It doesn't talk about year-end statements. Okay. Now, so now we are going to start with what? RPGBP. That is section 30 to section 43. Section 30 to 43D has two types of, Vignesh, are you there? Has two types of provisions, as I have told you. One is, okay, deductions, and another is disallowances. Disallowances are given in section 40 capital A, section 40 small a, and section 43B. Okay, these are the three sections which talks about disallowance. Obviously, we cannot do disallowance before deductions. First of all, we need to understand deductions to understand what is disallowed. So, this part I am ignoring as of now. I am interested in deductions today. Deductions are given in section 30 to section 37. Okay, all deductions. Let us categorize these deductions into two categories. Section 30 to 36 can be called as specific deductions, and 37(1) will be called as general deduction. Now, what is the difference between the two? What do I mean by specific deductions? Specific deductions means these are the deductions which will come with a name. With a name. The name of the expenditure will be known to us, like I am rent, I am bad debts, I am interest, I am depreciation, say I am family planning expenses, I am employees' contribution to certain funds. So it comes all with a name. But you only tell me, is it possible for the government to list down all the expenses in this world that a business can incur? It is not possible. So if you are not getting your expense over here, then you can come to what? The general deduction. And there are 4 conditions over here. If you fulfill that, then you will get the deduction under the general provisions. Okay. Now, within specific deductions also, there are 2 types of sections. Pay attention, please. You need to understand this classification to understand the chapter in a proper manner. We cannot go in the order of income tax law. Nobody can understand income tax in the order of income tax. Never ever. It is not practically possible to read income tax from section 1 to section 298 in the order and then understand it. It's not possible. A proper flow is important to understand the subject. In 30 to 36 also, there are 2 types of categories. One, deductions which are applicable to all businesses and professions. Second, deductions which are applicable to certain sectors. Let me give you an example. Depreciation. Is it applicable to every business? Every person doing a business can claim depreciation? Yes, section 32. Rent. Every business taking a property on rent for its business can claim rental deductions? Section 30. Right? It's specific also and it's available to all also. Right? Let's talk about sector wise. You are doing scientific research. Is it available to all? No, it's only specific to a sector. You are having a hotel of 2-star. Do you remember that? You might have done it in CA Inters, 3580 investment link deductions. Okay. That if you open a 2-star hotel, then you will be getting deduction, right? Hospital if you open of 100 beds, please tell me, is it available to all or is it sector wise? Sector wise. Telecom business, is it available to all or sector wise? Sector wise. So how should we go about? We cannot mix it up all. I cannot take one section from here and then hotel, then suddenly from here, then telecom. That will just confuse you like anything. That how to go about with the chapter. We need to have a proper flow in the chapter first of all. And therefore the proper flow is here in front of you. This is the proper flow of the chapter. Deductions of expenses and allowances. Section 32-36, section 37-1. 37-1 is general deduction. 32-36 is specific deduction. In this, available to all, these 5 sections are available to all, and these sections are available to sector wise. Is it clear to everyone? Once we are done with all the sections, you will come to know which section is talking about which provision. Okay, right now you might not be knowing the sections. Okay. So shall we start with our first section for today? We are obviously starting from left. Once we are done with this, then we'll go here. Once we are done with this, then we'll go here in the proper flow. And once you're done with this, we'll go to disallowances. Okay. Therefore, the very first thing which we are starting today is section 32, which talks about what? Say, depreciation. So, all of you, please fasten your seat belt and welcome to CA final. Why I am saying so, you will come to know. I have sent you soft copy if you have it, right? See the second chapter in that. And if you have a hard copy, then you can take the feel of the book also. See the second chapter in that. How many pages are there? 25 pages are there. In CA Inter, in 25 pages, you would have done your entire PGBP, right? Right or not? Tell me honestly. But don't worry. Don't worry about it. It will take time. It's voluminous. It's not difficult. After we are done with this 25 pages, believe me, in 10 to 15 minutes, we will revise the entire topic. Just 10 to 15 minutes it will take. Don't worry. Okay. So, we will go at this pace only till the very last lecture. We are not in a hurry to complete the batch. Still will complete. I know the time management very well. So this is the chapter of depreciation. The biggest concept in the entire syllabus. No concept is bigger than this concept. It will take at least 3 lectures to complete this concept. So today, tomorrow and day after tomorrow, at least this much time it will take to complete depreciation. It might take half a lecture more than that also. So the very first thing which I would like to tell you all is, just close your books now. As of now, it is of no use. Types of depreciation. There are 4 types of depreciation under income tax law. 4 types. First is given under section 32, subsection 1, clause 2. Second is given under section 32, subsection 1, clause 2A. Third is given under section 32, subsection 1, clause 1. Section 32, subsection 1, clause 3. Okay. These are the 4 sections in which depreciation is given. Now first, pay attention. What is the name of these type of depreciations? First is called as normal depreciation under the block scheme. Second is called as additional depreciation under the block scheme. Third is SLM depreciation for power generating units. And fourth is terminal depreciation for power generating units. Now listen carefully. 95% of the discussion is about this only. This is 2%, this is 3%. 95% of the discussion of this chapter is about the first section. Okay. Rest of the sections, I am not saying those are not important. Yes, they are important to some extent. but they are not very big. They are just a small part of this chapter. 95% is the first section. Okay, shall I start with the first one? Normal depreciation under the block scheme. So I am reading the income tax law, that is the bare act in front of you. The very first page of chapter number 2 is the bare text from the income tax act itself. Shall we read and interpret it? Yes. In respect of building, I'll just make a casual read once, okay, in 30 seconds, and then we will start to analyze it. In respect of building, machinery, plant or furniture being a tangible assets. In respect of know-how, patent, copyright, trademark, license, franchise or any other business or commercial rights of similar nature being intangible assets. Not being goodwill of business or profession. Owned wholly or partly by the assessee and used for the purpose of business or profession. Depreciation shall be allowed on the WDV of the block of asset at prescribed percentage. Listen carefully. Pay attention. Sir, is the word building defined? No. Is the word machinery defined? No. Is the word plant defined? Yes. Is the word furniture defined? No. Know-how, patent, copyright, trademark, license, franchise, any other business or commercial right of similar nature being intangible asset. Not being goodwill of business or profession. Sir, why the hell they have removed goodwill from the definition of intangible asset? Yes? Probably this is the first intangible asset that we all have heard in our life. Yes or no? Then why the hell they have removed this particular word from the definition of intangible asset? Why they have done so? We'll talk about that. This has been done very recently in Finance Act 2020. Okay, just 3 years back. So we'll deal with that amendment later on in this chapter itself. Shall I go ahead? Further, the section says that the asset should be owned by the assessee. Sir, what do you mean by the term owned? Is the word owner defined? Owner is not defined. So what shall we do? We will resolve every question. I am just raising the question as of now. I am not answering the question. Okay. Owned wholly or partly by the assessee and used for the purpose. Sir, is the word used defined? Not defined. Depreciation shall be allowed on the WDV of the block of assets. Sir, is the word WDV defined? Yes, it is defined. Sir, is the word block of asset defined? Yes, it is defined. At prescribed percentage. Okay, so you can see that there are so many terms which are defined. There are so many terms which are not defined. So as an expert, we need to deal with them one by one. Don't worry, at the end of this chapter, you will also be an expert. Don't worry. Have patience. The very first thing which I would like to discuss over here and which I would like to clear to you all, which is not only relevant for income tax, but that is relevant for any law. Taxation, non-taxation, revenue law, non-revenue law, for any law, this point is relevant, which I am going to say now. Whenever the word prescribe will come in any law, which word prescribe? It means there is a what? Can you say? There is a rule behind it. It has to be there. The word prescribed is defined under income tax law in section 2. So if I go to income tax law section 2 and see the definition of the word prescribe means what? It is written, the word prescribe means as prescribed under the income tax rules 1962. So did you understand? Wherever in the entire taxation law, if you see prescribed word, where you will go? Now you will ask me, how will I come to know where it is prescribed? No, but how will I come to know which rule?
You have to read the rules, I guess.
No, you don't have to read the rules. You will find out in the footnote. So if you open the income tax law, you will find out in the footnote. Okay. So they will give you in the footnote below. So this is given under this rule. So if from today onwards, if somebody asks you, where is the depreciation rate under the income tax law? What you will say? It is there in the income tax rules. Obviously, you will ask me which rule, right? It is given in rule 5, sub rule 1. It is written in the book. Don't write anywhere. Okay, it is there in your book. Which rule? Rule 5, sub rule 1. You will get all the list of asset and all the list of rates. Okay. So this is the first thing that I had to resolve, which I have resolved. That where I will get the rates of depreciation. Okay. Now the second thing which I would like to discuss over here, step by step I'll go, and then I'll move ahead with my bigger discussion, complex discussions. Okay. I'll start with simpler ones first. I'll create a base for the section. The second thing over here which is very interesting is, under the income tax law, depreciation is allowed on WDV method. First of all, it doesn't follow which method? SLM. SLM is there for certain people like power generating assessees, not for everyone. Okay. And that too on the concept of block of asset. Now this concept is not there in your accounts. It is there only in taxation. So we need to understand what this concept is all about, when this concept was introduced, who introduced, why introduced, so on and so forth. Okay. So the concept of block, listen carefully please all of you. The concept of block of asset is not there since the inception of income tax law. No. It was introduced by Dr. Manmohan Singh. From AY 88-89 till AY 87-88, the provision was different, and from AY 88-89, the concept of block was introduced. Now, what used to happen before the concept of block? First of all, let me tell you what used to happen. Then I will tell you what is the need to bring the block concept. Okay. Till AY 87-88, the income tax used to follow individual asset concept. Okay, every asset is a separate asset. This camera is separate, this laptop is separate, the way you follow in accounts. In accounts, you follow every asset as a separate asset, na? You don't follow block concept in accounts, right? This iPad is separate, this TV is separate, this sofa is separate, this AC is separate. But from AY 88-89, Dr. Manmohan Singh said that individual concept is a very complex concept under income tax law. Why? Just think from the perspective of a big company, say Reliance Industry. If you go to the factory of Reliance Industry, you'll find out hell lot of assets over there, right? There are variety of plant and machineries in the factory. There are variety of furnitures, variety of buildings. Yes or no? Classifying all of them as a separate asset would be a very tedious task for the income tax department to check. So that is the reason they said that make a block of asset, make a group of asset. Block means what? Group. Put all similar assets in one category and then make a block. So the concept of block was introduced for ease of calculation, because department does not have that much workforce here. Assessee might have the workforce. Assessee might have a separate income tax department. Yes or no? In the company, it might have a separate accounting department. If it is not that, they might hire also some people to do tax calculation separately. But department does not have that much workforce. They have limited workforce and they have to tackle 140 crore people. Even though it's a different matter that only 5 to 6 or 7 crore people file ITR in this country, out of 140 crore people, 135 crore people claim that they don't even earn 2,50,000 rupees a year, which is absolutely impossible to what even imagine. Is it true? Absolutely not true. So 135 crore people say that we don't even earn 250 lakhs, 2.5 lakhs in a year. That is something which is absolutely false. But the department knows that. Still it is ignoring blindly, because they don't have time to what? Catch such people, na? They don't have workforce. Do the department have time to catch a assessee who has hidden an income of 1 lakh or 2 lakh rupees? Do they have time? Do they have time to catch assessees who have earned total income of 6 to 7 lakh rupees a year? No, they don't have time. They don't want to waste their energy over there. Okay. They want to catch big fish rather than to check what? Small assessees. Therefore, the income tax department said that we are not interested in checking your individual assets. We want block concept. And in block, what will happen? They will categorize the assets into different category. And therefore, they defined first of all the word block. What do I mean by block of asset? Block of asset is defined in section 2, clause 11. And what does it say? It says that all the assets of what? Similar category. Having what? Similar, say, rate will be classified under the same block. And we don't want to have multiple calculations for multiple assets. So first of all, they divided all the assets into two categories. One is tangible, another is intangible. Okay, pay attention, please, absolute attention. Tangible assets, they are further categorized into four categories: plant, machinery, furniture, building. Okay, plant, machinery, furniture, and building. Intangible assets, they have said that you can take a lot of intangible assets excluding goodwill. I don't know what problem they have with goodwill as of now, but personally I know what problem they have. But as of now, as a teacher, I don't want to say that. Okay, I'll be speaking in the next lectures. As I've said you, they have removed goodwill from the definition of intangible asset from 2020 onwards. Now, all of them will be depreciated at what method? WDV method, without any second thought. Okay. Now, all your plants will come together, all your machineries will come together, all your furnitures will come together, all your buildings will come together, and all your intangible assets will come together. You don't have to show intangible assets separately in the balance sheet. Patent separate, copyright separate, license separate, franchise. No need to do all those things. Merge all of them. Okay. And claim how much depreciation? 25% as per income tax law. So now I'm discussing the rates of depreciation which you as a student, you are supposed to remember, please. Okay. Shall I? So we'll see the different rates of depreciation under the income tax law. By default, plant and machinery will be depreciated at 15%. Okay. If nothing is mentioned in the question and the question is only saying it is a plant and machinery, full stop. No further classification of what kind of plant, what kind of machinery. Then you will take how much? 15%. Okay. Furniture will be depreciated at 10%. Okay. And building will be depreciated at 10%. Is it clear? By default. If nothing, if these words are seen in the exam, plant and machinery, then take 15%. Furniture, then take 10%. Building 10%. Intangible asset 25%. Shall I go ahead? Now I will do further classification, further characterization, further classification, further bifurcation. For building, there are multiple categories. If nothing is mentioned, then 10%. Is it clear? But if it is written in the question that building is a residential building, what kind of building? Residential building. Then the depreciation will rate to change to 5%. Is it clear? So now you will have a doubt. How a residential building can claim depreciation? Yes, it's not for your personal use. This building, this residential building on which I am claiming depreciation, right? It has to be used for business now. One of the condition in section 32 subsection 1 is what? To claim depreciation. What is the condition? It should be used for the purpose of business or profession, right? Yes or no? So my question to you all is, how the hell I can say the residential building is subject to 5% depreciation? It's not my own building. I am not using it for myself. I am giving it to my staff. I am giving it to my employees. Can I do so or not? Do companies give housing quarters to their staff or not? So of that housing quarter, how much depreciation they can claim? 5%. Is it clear? Third category, temporary structure. If the building is a temporary structure which can be demolished in next 2-3 years, then it will be subject to 40% depreciation. Are you clear? So building only has 3 rates: 10%, 5%, 40%. Will you be able to remember this? Okay. Furniture, no classification, only 10%. Clear? The real challenge would be to remember, not a challenge, but still there are a lot of issues, there are a lot of rates in this, is plant and machinery. By default, plant and machinery will be 15%. Now, I will give further classifications now. The very first plant and machinery which I am speaking right now, plant and machinery might have a lot of things here. This laptop is what? Plant and machinery or not? Phone is what? Plant and machinery or not? Motor vehicle is what? Plant and machinery or not? There are only 4 categories, na? Plant, machinery, furniture, building. You cannot classify them as building or furniture. Then you have to classify them as plant and machinery only, na? So maximum assets will classify in plant and machinery only. So we need to analyze all of them one by one if their rates are differing from 15%. If it is 15%, then I'll not speak. Okay. So if there is any other rate, then it is my duty to tell you. So first of all, I am talking about motor car. Please tell me if I am using a motor car or motor vehicle rather. Car is not a proper word. Vehicle is a proper word because motor car would only include a four-wheeler, which is a small car. It can also include bus, na. It can also include truck, na. Goods carriage also. But anyways, understand this as a motor vehicle. By default, what will be the rate of depreciation for motor car? Motor car, how much? Palani, how much? 15%. Okay, that is fine. Is everyone clear? It is 15%. But now listen. Now I am telling you some multiple rates. Shall I? But if the assessee is in business of hire, then it is 30%. Sir, what do I mean by this? It means my business is to run a motor car. Example, I have a transport business. I am an Ola person. I am an Uber person. Will my wear and tear be more than as compared to Mukesh Ambani's car? Please say na. Mukesh Ambani's car is not for frequent use. It's only for the use of, he might be going to office from his house, or he might be roaming locally somewhere in Mumbai, right? There is a limited use of the car, right? But the car, the vehicle which is used in the business itself is of what? Of running them on hire. Like Savari rental, you would have heard. Have you heard Savari rental? Their business is what? Is to run the vehicle on hire. So do they use their vehicle more as compared to other businessmen? The answer is yes. So they deserve more depreciation. The answer is yes, they will get 30%. Is it clear? So if nothing is mentioned, then you will take how much depreciation? 15. If nothing is mentioned. But if it is written that the assessee is engaged in the business of running them on hire, then take 30%. Okay? Shall I go ahead further? Shall I go ahead further? Let me give you a very important background. In 2019, that is pre-COVID period, that is early 2019, in April, May, June, July 2019, listen the date very carefully. It's a very famous and very hot favorite provision of institute. They have been testing this provision again and again in the exams. I am telling you what is the provision. I'll giving you the background first of all. I don't like to say the provision directly ever. I always believe in saying the background first. In 2019, early 19, April 19, May 19, June 19, July 19. I don't know whether you are aware or not. Maybe Prashant might be aware because he has been working in industry, right? You were in India, Prashant, at that time? 19? No. So you also might not be knowing it. But in India in 2019, there was a heavy recession in automobile sector. Heavy recession. Heavy. People were not ready to buy, and our finance minister, she made a statement also that millennials are using Ola and Uber. That is the reason auto sectors are going down. Do you remember that statement which she made around 4 years back? That statement, people were making fun of that, but that was not completely incorrect. That was partially incorrect, partially correct. Not completely incorrect. Yes, people are using Ola, Uber and other kind of taxi services more these days. Maybe that can be one of the reasons. Nobody knows the exact reason. So what to do? To inflate what? To inflate what? The automobile sector. They came up with a sudden press release in between. Our finance minister came with a press release and said that any person who will purchase motor vehicle between 23rd August 2019 to 31st of March 2020, if you purchase and use motor vehicle, then you will get extra 15% depreciation. What do I mean by this? It means this will become 30 and this will become how much? 45. The question will come to our mind, is this rate only applicable for that year or for subsequent years also? Yes, that question will come or not. I have purchased vehicle during that period because of the announcement of the finance minister. So is the finance minister encouraging me to buy vehicle? Tell me now. Especially if I am a businessman. If I am a salaried person, then it is of no use to me because this benefit is only for businesses, not for salaried. If they would have said, nah, we will give you depreciation in salary, then there would have been a great boom in the automobile sector. Every salaried person would have bought at least a small vehicle of 3 to 4 lakhs or 5 lakhs. Because they would have saved good amount of tax. Nah? Anyways, they don't get any kind of depreciation benefit in salary. So the question is, was that only a one-time benefit or that vehicle will be depreciated at this enhanced rate forever? Enhanced rate forever, even today in 2023-24, if you have purchased vehicle in 19, between that period, even today the rate will be 45% and 30%. Are you clear? Are you clear?
So we'll have to make a separate block.
Yes, you have to make a separate block for that vehicle. That will not be, that there is a, in the portal it is mentioned. So institute plays a very important gimmick over here in the exam. You have to be very careful. In the question, they will give you the opening WDV of motor vehicle. What they will give you? Opening WDV of motor vehicle. In the bracket, they will write, this vehicle was purchased in September 2019. It should click to your mind very fast. What should click to your mind? That you are supposed to take how much percent depreciation? Not the traditional 15%, but you have to take 30%. Is it clear? Will you be able to remember these dates? These dates you have to put it in your mind some or the other way, please. Last but not least, in motor vehicle, electric vehicle will be depreciated at 40%. Okay. Is it clear? All electric vehicles. Okay. All of them. Whenever you have purchased, today, tomorrow, yesterday, last year, year before that, next year, whenever you have purchased, it will be subject to 40% depreciation. Okay. Coming to the next category of plant and machinery. Plant and machinery is a long category. It has lot of assets. Ships will be depreciated at 20%. Okay. Shall I go ahead? Aircraft, pollution control equipment, professional books, windmills, all of them will be depreciated at 40%. Is it clear? Shall I go ahead? Computers, which will include laptops also, and its peripherals. Peripherals means like printer, scanner, etc., which are used along with computers, right? They will be depreciated how much percent? Everybody knows this year. How much? How much? 40. Yes or no? Ships, aircraft, pollution control equipment, professional books, windmills. That's it. I guess I have said most of them. Okay. I'll just show you the rates of all of them over here now. Yes, one more thing is there which I always miss out here. I would like to say that. And then we'll read it. Mobile phones. How much? What do you feel? Very important asset here that everybody has these days. Mobile phones, how much? What do you feel? At least 25. Mobile phones and EPBX. Are you aware what is EPBX? Any idea? Okay, I'll tell you. EPBX is an intercom system which is there in companies. Suppose if you are in a big company and from one cubicle you want to call to another cubicle, or from one cubicle you want to call to the reception, or if the reception has to transfer call to your cabin, or from your cabin to finance manager's cabin or to CEO's cabin, if you want to talk, you have now that landline. That is known as EPBX. Okay, that intercom system which is there in societies also these days, right? So these two are depreciated on how much percentage? Prashant is saying at least 25% has to be said. Palani is saying 60%. No, no, no. Unfortunately, it is depreciated only at 15%, even today. Okay. So I think so income tax department is still staying in the era of Nokia phones, which is to work for around 6, 7 years, 8 years, right? Without any fault. My father still has a Nokia Asha phone which he bought in 2011. He's still using that. So those time phones used to work like for a long period of time because they used to don't do anything except calling, right? They don't have any function only. Then how will they deteriorate? They are not going to deteriorate so easily. But considering today's conditions, 3-4 years maximum phone a person uses, right? After that, everybody changes, yeah. So they have to at least bring it to 30%, I guess, or at least 25%. Still, it is too less.
Undertone from the government to curb frivolous expenses.
Yes, definitely. Maybe. So these are the different kind of tax rates which are mentioned for what? Sorry, depreciation rates which are mentioned for what? For your block of asset. Okay. So these are all the rates which are mentioned over here. You can read it from here. Okay. The way I have written it in our books. The way I have written it in the board, you will get in the same order. Okay. Now, as I have told you, the very concept of block was to ease out the calculation of depreciation. Yes. So I would like to ask you one question now. Suppose this is financial year 2023-24. As I have told you, this is the financial year which is applicable for our exam. So whatever discussion we have to do it from this financial year's perspective only. Okay. Now suppose on 15th of March 2024, I bought a furniture. Okay. And the value of that furniture is 1 lakh. Suppose the rate of depreciation of the furniture is say 10%. Okay. Now my question to you all is, as per accounts, how will you compute depreciation in this case? As per accounts, not as per tax. I don't want the amount. I just want the format in which you are going to compute. What into what? 1 lakh
1 lakh into 10%.
into 10%.
16 by
Into 16 or 17?
16, sir.
How 16? I'm purchasing and using on 15th of March.
Oh, 17, 17, 17.
How, Panali? This one day would change our answers to a great extent.
70 by 366.
Yes, this is also something which you cannot forget this year. Your exam falls in a leap year, okay? So you have to be very careful with that also with the denominator. 2024 is a leap year, right? So 17 by 366. This is how you are going to calculate in accounts. Is everyone clear? But there will always be a problem, na? What problem? If I change this to 15th January, then you have to calculate the number of days. If I change this to 15th of Feb, then you have to again calculate number of days. If I change it to 15th of July, then you have to again calculate number of days. It's a very tiring exercise, na? So that is the reason income tax says what? We do not believe in all these things. Income tax says a very simple thing. What is that simple thing? Let me make you read that. You would have also done it in CA Inter, but let me make you read it once again. Okay. What is that simple thing? See on the board, please, all of you. I don't want to show the illustration which is below this. Please read this paragraph. I am also reading this last paragraph, which is a proviso to section 32(1). What do you mean by the term proviso? Any idea? Yes. Palani, any idea? Before getting into the discussion, we need to understand some technicality of the provision. What do I mean by the term proviso? Proviso means an exception to a section. Listen carefully. A very important concept we are learning. Exception to section. Suppose there is a section which says certain things, And if the government wants to create what? An exception to it, then they will create a proviso. For example, and the provisos will always start with golden words. The first proviso will always start with, provided that. If there is one exception in the section, it will start with provided that. If there is second proviso, yes, it will be starting with the words provided further that. If there is a third exception, they will start with the word provided also that. With the help of this, you will come to know whether it is a first proviso or second or third proviso. Okay? Because in practical life, what happens? When we talk at a very advanced level, we talk at this level. This was mentioned in second proviso to section 139(1). Okay? So you should come to know where second proviso exactly will be found. Where it is written provided further that. Sir, what about fourth proviso? There might be a fourth proviso also, no? There might be a fifth. Then which grammatic word will be used by the law? Now the grammar is over now. There is no grammar beyond it. After that, everywhere it will be provided also only. Okay? Fourth proviso will be also, fifth proviso will be also, seventh proviso also, 10th proviso also. There are sections which has 25 provisos also. There are certain sections under income tax law where there is one provision and there are 25 exceptions. Okay, we are not going to do that. That's not a part of syllabus, but still it is there. It is there. So, let me give you an example to explain this, how it works. Suppose we make a law of our classes from tomorrow onwards. The law of the classes, I am making the law of our classes. The law of our classes is, I am telling you the main provision, then we'll create an exception. The law of our classes is nobody will come late from tomorrow. Okay, suppose this is the law of our classes. Late means after 6:30 p.m. This is the law of our classes. Now, I cannot be so strict in life. I need to create exceptions. Provided that a student can come late, provided that he is unwell. Okay, first proviso. I have to create further exceptions. I cannot be so strict in life. A student can come late, provided further that there is a pressure in office because of due dates. I cannot be so strict again. I can create further exceptions to our provision of coming on time. A student can come late, provided also that if there is traffic in your city. I can make multiple exceptions to a law. Yes or no? So there is a difference between a proviso and notwithstanding clause. How proviso is different from notwithstanding? Notwithstanding clause try to override some other sections. Try to override other sections. Okay. But proviso try to create exception. What? Within the section. Are you clear? It is an exception within the section. It is not an exception to other section. This exception will be to your own section only. Are you clear? So these are the general things which as a CA student, many chartered accountants don't know. They are chartered accountant, they are practicing in traditional practice. Obviously, all those who are practicing at High Court, Supreme Court, at tribunal level, they know all these things definitely. They need to know. They need to know. Otherwise, they cannot stand in front of the judge. The judge will speak such things. Now they will go. They will say all those things are where it is written in the law. It is not written in the law. This comes only with practice. You will not find all these things in your study material also. But it is my duty to tell you as a student, you should be knowing these things. So coming back to the discussion which we are doing, that you have to read this paragraph for me. I will also read it for you. Where any asset falling within a block of asset is acquired, last paragraph, this one, is acquired by the assessee during the previous year. You have to read it very carefully. Yeah? Don't tell me then that I have not given you time to read them. Because after that, I will ask you some questions. And is put to use for the purpose of business and profession for a period of less than 180 days in that previous year. Then the deduction of depreciation in respect of such asset shall be restricted to 50% of the depreciation allowable. Just ignore the paragraph after that. Read it once again. Then I will ask you some questions. Read? Let me ask you some questions now. Let me see what this provision wants to tell. Can you tell me? If the asset is put to use for less than 180 days, then the depreciation will be restricted to 50%. It means 10% will become 5, 40 will become 20, 25 will become 12.5, 30 will become 15, right? 45 will become 22.5, right? Okay, fine. Now I have a question. I am asking you some questions. 100% have you read it properly? Sure, na? Prashant, you are mute.
Sorry. What could be the cases where the asset is not acquired? I mean, it says it's acquired and put to play. So could you have in possession an asset which is not acquired?
Maybe, no, I don't understand your question.
The beginning of the sentence is if an asset is acquired and put to use. So how can you have an asset which is not acquired?
Self-generated.
Yeah, so
Construct. Maybe a building is constructed.
Yeah, in those cases, it will, even if it's constructed less than 180 days, it will be still full year because it's not acquired.
Maybe, yes.
So if it's a self-generated asset or if it's a constructed building which is not acquired, then in that case,
maybe a full 100% depreciation, right? Now, my question to you all is, furniture, 1 lakh rupees I have bought it, okay? This is financial year 2023-24. I will try to set a trap for you. It is your duty that you don't fall in that trap, okay? Now, let me see to what extent you get escape from my trap. That is the fight between you and me now. My first question to you all is, I have purchased it on 15th of April 2023 and I have put to use on 15th of July 2023. How much depreciation I will get? You have to just say full or half. Full. I have purchased it on 15th of July 2023 and I have put to use on 15th of December 2023. How much depreciation I will get? Half, because it is put to use for less than 180 days. Use is important, only acquiring is not relevant, right? Third, suppose if I purchased it on 15th of July 2023 and if I put to use on 3rd October 2023, whether I will get full depreciation or half?
full because there are more than 180 days.
Palani, Vignesh. Am I using it for more than 180 days? What about exact 180 days, full or half?
Full, sir. Full.
If it is exact 180 days used, whether it will be full or half?
Full.
It will be full, because the law says that if it is less than 180 days, then it is half, right? Yes or no? Now, please tell me, if you put to use on 3rd October, just calculate on your calculator. October, how many days? 29 days, from 3rd October to 31st October, right? November 30, December 31, January 31, February. Be careful in this year. This year is going to create problem if you don't remember this factor that it is a leap year. February 29 and March, say please, 31. It is 181, right? So it will be full. Even if it 181 days, it is coming to. So even if it would have been what? 2nd October, then also it would have been full only. Right? Even if it would have been 4th October, then also it would have been full only. Because if you count from 4th October to 31st March, it comes to exactly 180 days, right? Please say. So can we keep in mind our cutoff date is what? 4th October. Please say now. If you put to use till 4th October, then you will get full depreciation. If you put to use from 5th October, then half depreciation. Is it clear? Now please tell me, is the job of department reduced or not? Rather than calculating depreciation on a daily basis, they have to just keep one date in mind, right? They don't have to do calculations on a daily basis. Nowadays, it doesn't matter because nowadays everything is done through softwares, right? But when these provisions were introduced at that time, softwares were not there. Everything was done manually. So considering that, they have brought the provisions. Okay. Is it clear? So you have not yet fallen into the trap. How come? Let me ask you the next question then. Question number 4. I have purchased on 15th of July 2023 and I have put to use on 15th of July 2024. Please tell me. No depreciation in the current year. What about in the next year? Next year full? Say please. Next year full. Okay. Still you have given the correct answer. Okay. Next one. I have purchased on 15th of March 2024. Okay. And I have put to use on 15th of March 2025. What will happen? In the current year, I will not get, right? That is something which is clear. In the next year, I will get full or half. Prashant.
I think it's how you interpret the section. If you say acquired and put to use means are both relating to 180 days, then it would be.
No, Prashant. It's very clearly written in the law. Yes, you have to see that once again if you want. You want to see that, you can see that once again. It's very clearly written in the law, in the provision. If you want, I will show you the provision on the board. You need not see in your. Yeah, you can see on the board. That would be more clear for you. Hard copy will just reach in 1 or 2 days. Don't worry. Palani, what will happen? Half or full?
Full.
And the answer is full, Palani. Let me tell you how. Because the provision says what you know. Let me read. Where any asset falling within a block of asset is acquired by the assessee during the previous year. Okay. It is acquired in which year, Palani? 23-24. And is put to use for the purpose of business and profession for a period of what? In that previous year. Is he putting to use for less than 180 days in that previous year or subsequent previous year? So this 50% proviso is applicable when? When you acquire and put to use for less than 180 days in the same previous year, then it is 50%. Did you understand? Have you done like this in your CA Inter?
Possesses other than acquisition, but it's actually acquired.
It's actually acquired only. So did you knew this from CA Inter? No teacher of CA Inter teaches this. They say 50%, half 50%. Ho gaya. That's it. It's not like that. This is the interpretation of law. If the government would have used the word over here, any, what? Any, then it would have been 50%. Are you clear? Therefore, can we conclude, all of you please say, especially the Google Drive student, obviously they are not interacting with me, so I have to think from their perspective also. So, Can we conclude now that this 50% is only applicable if you acquire and put to use for less than 180 days in that year itself, same year itself? Okay. It means if I acquire in the current year, okay, listen carefully. If I acquire in the current year and put to use for less than, forget about less than. Again, I am saying if I acquire in the current year and put to use for even 1 day in the next year, how many days? Just 1 day in the next year. Can I say I will claim 100% in next year? That is whatever is the rate, not 100%. If the rate is 10%, then 10%, right? Now you can go through these examples. That is the reason I told you don't see this example, please. So that, see how important that word is that. Generally, we don't give importance to such small words in our life. Yes or no? Okay. Now, the next issue is with respect to block. In block concept, if you want to claim depreciation, you have to fulfill certain conditions. What are the conditions? Listen carefully. When can the depreciation be claimed under the block method? You have to fulfill two conditions. One is the block must be positive on the last day. Okay. Second is the block must not cease to exist on the last day. Okay. Then only you will get depreciation. Otherwise, you are not going to get the depreciation. Let me explain you. Even though this concept you have done it in CA Enter, but still it is my duty to explain everything. So the first condition is block must be positive on 31st March 2024. That is the last day of the financial year. Second condition, block must not cease to exist. It means block should have at least one asset. At least one asset should be there in the block on 31st of March 2024. If you fulfill both the conditions, then you will claim depreciation. If you violate either of the condition, okay, then your matter will go to capital gains. Which chapter? Capital gains. You will be liable for short-term capital gains. We are interested today in depreciation, not in capital gains. Okay, capital gains we'll see in the chapter of capital gains, not today. Now let me give you 3 examples. Case 1. Furniture. Opening WDV, quantity, amount. Suppose in quantity there are 2 assets. The value of the assets is 2 lakh rupees. Plus I purchased one asset. The value of that one asset is 1 lakh. Total is 3 and this is 3 lakhs. Now please tell me, I have not sold anything during the current year. Nil, nil. Please tell me, am I fulfilling the 2 conditions mentioned by the law so that I can claim depreciation on this block? Yes. Is the block positive? Positive means amount column, right? Is the block ceasing to exist? Is the block ceasing to exist, Venkatesh? You have to give a negative answer here. No, it is not ceasing to exist, right? So this condition is also fulfilled. You can claim depreciation, right? Now I would like to make some changes over here. Okay. Suppose I sell one asset for 5 lakh rupees. Can I do that? Why not? I can. So this will become 2, this will become 2 lakhs. But this 2 lakh is negative. Will I get depreciation? No. Now you have to go to capital gains chapter and compute capital gains for sale of asset. Okay. Are you clear? Second case. Suppose I sold all three assets for 1 lakh rupees. This is 0, this is 2 lakh positive. Will I get depreciation?
No, sir.
The block ceases to exist. The only way you can get depreciation is this has to be at least 1, right? And this has to be more than 0, right? Because on 0 you will not get a depreciation of 0 only, right? If that is 0, it has to be at least 1 rupee if you want to claim depreciation. Is it clear? Or else your matter will go to capital gains chapter. Okay. Now, next issue. Small issues I am taking up. Big issues will deal tomorrow and day after tomorrow, because I don't have time also to take up any big issue today. Next, listen carefully. A very interesting case. Very, very interesting. There was an assessee who bought a building of 100 crore. And after that, he used that for business and profession. Okay. But he did not claim depreciation. He did not claim depreciation. Why, sir? Because he doesn't want to claim depreciation. Why? Is he a fool? You'll come to know why he doesn't want to claim depreciation. He is purchasing a building, he is using for business, but he is not claiming depreciation. Okay. The assessing officer said that you have to claim it. And therefore, the assessing officer gave depreciation to assessee forcefully. Where the hell we will find such kind of assessing officers in this world who is forcefully giving us depreciation? I don't want, still is giving me. Okay. That is the reason I said it's a very interesting issue. You will be confused that what exactly is happening over here. Just wait. Okay. But is the assessee asking for the depreciation? The answer is no. He doesn't want. He doesn't want. Still the officer is giving. Officer is saying, no, you have to take depreciation. There is no second thought. If you are using a building for a business, you have to take. I said that I don't want. I don't want only. Okay. Third case. The assessee went to court. Where the assessee went? To the court. Matter went to Supreme Court. And the Supreme Court gave a judgment that it is optional to claim depreciation. Okay. It is nowhere written in the law, it is mandatory to claim depreciation. Okay. It is optional to claim depreciation. If the assessee wishes to take, let him take. If he doesn't want to take, don't force him. This is what the Supreme Court said. So who won the case? The assessee won the case. Okay. The department was very aggrieved from this case. So in Finance Act 2001, the department put an explanation 5 to section 32 subsection 1. So below the section of depreciation, they inserted one explanation. An explanation is nothing but a clarification. Okay. When I say there is an explanation below a section, it means it is trying to clarify certain things about the section. And that explanation says that it is what? Mandatory to claim depreciation. Okay. Now my question to you all is, the assessee does not want, department is forcefully giving, the court is saying that it is optional. Can the income tax department override a Supreme Court judgment and make a law?
Yes, sir.
Please say, does the parliament has a power to make a law overriding a Supreme Court judgment?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Definitely yes. A parliament has absolute power to override any judgment given by the court. Okay. No matter whichever court it is. Okay. So they have that power. There are so many judgments which are overridden by the government of India after a Supreme Court judgment. One of the most famous judgment. That Vodafone case law judgment, which came in 2012, which was in favor of Vodafone. Then suddenly the CBDT retrospectively amended that in 2012 itself. And on that, one entire lecture will be there on Vodafone case law. And then one entire chapter is there on Vodafone case law in our book 3 of detailed book. Don't worry.
That time. It was a huge issue. I mean, even abroad.
Yes.
It gave a very bad impression to India.
Yes, it was a very bad impression on India because the investors were reluctant to come to India after that. Senior advocates and senior, you can say, judiciary people were opposing that. That if a court has given such, that was judgment was of $2 billion. That judgment was on non-deduction of TDS. Vodafone did not deduct TDS in certain transactions. So the income tax department, Bombay income tax department issued a notice of $2 billion to them, which was around 12,000 crore rupees notice.
Developed countries, they all charge that transaction tax.
But that I'll talk about that, Prashant, later on. That is a very complex issue. I'll be speaking on that. We will talk in great detail that what exactly that particular issue has impacted India. But then this Modi government has removed the retrospectivity of that. This current government has relaxed that provision. Okay, so we have to appreciate that fact also. Anyways, so what learning we are making out of this? That the government has the power to do what? To override the Supreme Court judgment and make a law. But the very question which will come to all of our mind is why the hell the assessee is doing such things here? Why the hell is not claiming depreciation? Can you please answer that question to me? Why an assessee is not willing to claim depreciation?
Could it be because there are certain incomes which are exempt for a particular period of time, and till that time, the SSC doesn't want to claim or waste his depreciation? And
Vignesh, you said? You said, Vignesh? Okay. There is a pure mathematics over here. Pure mathematics and finance. Let me give you an example. Suppose if I buy a building for 100 crore, okay? And if I claim depreciation, what benefit I will get over the years after 10 years? So let's see, in 10 years, I will get what benefits? What benefits I'll get in 10 years of this building? Depreciation, right? Say na. Say I would have claimed depreciation of how much? Say 70 crores in 10 years approximately. Let's take it approximate, right? 10% every year, na WDV. WDV will fall now over the years. 70%, 30% tax I will save. So how much depreciation, how much tax I will save? 21 crore approximately, right? But at what cost? See the cost of saving the tax. Whenever I will say after 10 years, I am selling this building. So say the sale consideration of building is now 300 crore. Okay. Building is an appreciating asset, right? It will appreciate 2 or 3 times in 10 years. So suppose it appreciates 2 times. Now, because we have claimed depreciation, it will be forming part of block, right? And because it is part of block, first of all, you will not get the deduction of cost, but you will get the deduction of WDV. If you have done it in CA Inter, I don't know whether you have done it or not. What is the WDV? It is 30 crore, right? First of all. Secondly, even though the asset is held for 10 years, in block, the gain is always short-term capital gains. Do you remember that? Do you remember that? Thirdly, short-term capital gains are taxable at 30%. So, at the cost of taking a tax benefit of 21 crore, you will end up paying huge amount of tax when you will sell the asset. Are you clear?
yes, sir.
So, it is better that I do not Claim only depreciation. So the government of India made this provision which says that it is, please say, if you are using an asset for business showing in the balance sheet, you have to claim depreciation under the income tax law. Are you clear, all of you? Please say. It is mandatory to claim depreciation. I hope it is clear to everyone, right? Okay. So coming to the first page of this chapter, where we stand, what we know as of now, out of this paragraph, we don't know anything great. Building, machinery, plant, furniture, tangible asset, patent, know-how, owned, we don't know, used, we don't know, WDV, we don't know. Yes, we know the block of asset, right? We know block of asset now. Please say. Block of asset, what assets come under block, what is the rate of depreciation, we know that. When it will become half, when it will become full, we know all these things, right? Let's take up one or two more, one small issue. That is, we'll come to the first line of the section. What is the first line of section? Tangible assets, right? Machinery not defined, building not defined, plant defined, furniture not defined. So the term plant is defined, sir. Yes, it is defined. Why? What is the need to define plant? If rest of the three are not defined, then why the hell they are defining one of them? Why they are doing injustice with the rest of the three? So the plant what is defined under income tax law with an objective. It is defined under section 43 subsection 3. Now you will say that, sir, you have said me that definitions are generally under which section? Under which section? Under section 2. Then what the hell is this definition? Yes or no? So it is not like that. Definitions are also of three types. One which is there in section 2. No doubt. That everybody knows, right? What are those definitions? Section 2 definitions are those definitions which are applicable to the entire law. It means the definitions which are mentioned in section 2 are applicable from section 1 till section 298. Are you clear? Now, the definitions which are mentioned in between, like here, 43.3 is a definition. Now, this definition is only applicable to this chapter. So, it will be written in the first line of this section also. For the purpose of this chapter, what will be written? For the purpose of this chapter. In section 2, what it is written? For the purpose of this act. Are you clear? So, the scope of this definition is restricted to only the chapter. When I say this chapter means the entire chapter of computation. Computation has salary also, HP also, PGBP also, capital gains also. Not the chapter which we are learning. We are learning PGBP chapter. That is academic chapter. I am not talking about academic chapter. I am talking about tax chapter. Income tax act chapters. Income tax is divided into 23 chapters, right? Yesterday I have told you. There is third kind of section also. Definition. That also I will tell you. Which says that for the purpose of this section. It means what? Those kind of definitions are only applicable to a particular, say na, a section. So there is an act specific definition, there is a chapter specific definition, and there is a section specific definition. Are you clear? I hope it is. Now, what is the definition of plant? The plant is again no meaning. No meaning. Only inclusive and exclusive list is given by the government of India. No meaning is given, unfortunately. Okay. So what is the meaning of plant then? If I go to dictionary and I find out the meaning of plant, let me tell you, there is a altogether different level of interpretation by the SSC in the industry. Obviously, big companies have separate tax planning departments. Their entire work is only to do one thing, to save maximum tax for the company. By manipulating the law, by misreading the law, by misinterpreting the law, the whatever way you can. That is the reason for which the company is paying you hefty salary. You have to save crores and crores of taxes for the company. That's it. What is the meaning of the term plant? Not defined. Meaning is not. They have given some list, inclusive, exclusive list is given. But what is the meaning? If I go to dictionary, if I go to the ordinary meaning, plant means any apparatus or tool, any apparatus, any tool which is necessary to discharge any function. If you want to discharge any function, if you want to complete any function, you need to have some tool, some apparatus. Whatever tool, whatever apparatus is necessary to discharge any function is plant. It's a very general definition. You can go and check in the dictionary. Now, listen carefully, please. What kind of tax planning assessees used to do, and because of which the government made an amendment? What kind of tax planning assessees used to do? Suppose there was one assessee who was an theater owner. Okay. What he used to say, that this is my building in which there is a screen and which is having huge height. There are seats over here. Okay. So what is he saying? Listen carefully. He is saying that this entire building is one apparatus and a tool which is necessary to discharge my function of theater business. Listen carefully. You just take some time. Let me give you one example. Is this pen an apparatus or a tool to discharge my function of teaching? Say na, please. Is this laptop an apparatus or a tool? Is this chair an apparatus or a tool to discharge my business function? Like that, everything is plant, na? Like that, too. Like that, too, even furniture is plant, na? Like that, too, even building is plant, na? If I go by the general definition of plant, yes or no? Now, what he is saying that my building is not normal building. My building is a specially designed building. Do you agree? A theater owner designed a building specially, na? If tomorrow theater closes, can it be used for other purpose? Can I make an office over there? I have to renovate it completely. It can be only used for theater. The assessee says that this is a specially designed building. Therefore, this entire building is unnecessary for me to run the business, and therefore this entire building is a plant. And by saying that, what is he trying to do? He is trying to tag the building as plant. And because of that, the building will be tagged as plant. And because of that, even the furniture, benches, seats, tables and all of them will also be classified as what? As plant. And why is he doing so? You are intelligent enough to understand. To claim extra 5%, 15% depreciation, right? Similarly, there were certain hospital assessees, hospital owners, private hospital owners, who are saying that our hospital is a specially designed building. Do you agree? Is a hospital a special designed building?
Yes, sir.
Yes, there are operation theaters, there are mortuary services over there. Yes, there are general ward, there are special ward, there are days laboratories, so on and so forth. So they are saying that our entire building is what? Is a plant. Why? By going with the general definition of plant. What is the general definition of plant? Any apparatus or tool which is necessary to discharge any function. Similarly, some hotel owners were also claiming the same thing. A hotel is a specially designed building or not? Can a hotel be converted into an office? It cannot. Hotel is a specially designed building considering the needs of the customers. It has conference rooms, it has banquets, it has different kind of rooms, it has restaurants, it has gyms, it has clubhouse, it has swimming pool. Yes or no? Therefore, even hotel owners used to say that our entire hotel is what? Is one tool, is apparatus which is necessary to discharge business function, so that they can claim 15% on entire asset. So in Finance Act 2003, the CBDT came up with an amendment in section 43 subsection 3, and they defined the word plant in an inclusive manner and in an exclusive manner, more importantly, that what does not include in the definition of plant. That is more important for them. That is the reason they amended the definition in 2003. And let me show you what exactly they want to say now with respect to definition of plant. The definition of plant is as follows. Pay attention on the board, please, all of you. Definition of plant. Section 43.3 defines plant to include ships. Ships is plant. Okay, that we accept. Yes, There's no issue in that. Anyways, ship is depreciated at 20%, right? So there is no harm in that. Vehicles, we know that that is plant. Books are plant. Scientific apparatus, surgical equipment. I am not interested in the inclusive list. I am interested in the exclusive list. For the purpose of business, and but does not include tea bushes. Okay, tea bushes. Now some people were literally taking the definition of plant as plant. What is the first thing that come to your mind when I say plant? Trees and plant, na? That is the first thing that come to anybody's mind, na? Plant and machinery will come later on, yeah. In common person's mind, the first thing which will come is tea only. The plant, leaves, etc. So the government said that we are removing tea bushes from here because for tea bushes we are keeping a separate provision later on. For tea there is a separate section under the income tax law which will be coming under sector wise. Okay. So that is the reason it is removed from here. Next, livestock. They have removed livestock also. Can livestock be called as plant? Apparatus which is necessary to discharge business function. Can it be called as? I have a dairy business, right? Can I call it as a plant? Yes, but they have removed it because again livestock has been given a separate deduction for animals under section 36. Separate deduction is there under section 36 for animals, allowance for animals. Okay. I am more interested in the next words. See that. What they have excluded from the definition of plant? Building. Building is not plant, please. Please don't say that. Furniture is not plant. Fitting is not plant. They deserve to get depreciated at 10% only. Are you clear?
Yes, sir.
And in the bracket, I have written the reason why this has been done and when it was done. Check it, please. I could have easily said that. There is another way of teaching this, that definition of plant does not include building, furniture, fitting, livestock, tea bushes, remember. But that will not create an interest in the subject at your end, firstly. Secondly, you will not remember for a larger period of time also. Right? So you have to learn the subject in a proper manner, in this manner only. There is no other way to learn direct tax. You have to learn with the logics. You have to learn why a particular provision was brought by the government of India. I could have easily said in 2 minutes that it is mandatory to claim depreciation. Okay. And my 15 minutes would have been easily saved. But that is not, time saving is not important over here. We have to utilize the time. At least in the initial phase, I have to create that particular environment that you understand the subject. Later on, you will only ask me, sir, why so? Please tell me why this provision is not like that. Why? You will only ask me questions. Once you will get used to that particular strategy of learning the subject. Okay, yes. We'll end the lecture here, and if you have any doubts, you can ask me. Yes, please.
Small question. Earlier, when you classified assets, you put them into 4 groups: plant, machinery, furniture, and
Building.
buildings. Yeah. Now, regarding plant and machinery, here it does not exclude machinery.
Okay. It doesn't matter, na?
But let's say if one block is getting finished, and it's a machinery and not a plant, then we have to apply capital gains to that particular block. But if it's combined plant and machinery,
Plant and machinery are two different terms, but under the income tax law, the block is only same. The block is same only. The block is not different. It is just that the term plant is defined, the term machinery is not defined. But the block is not different. The block of plant and machinery is same only under income tax law till the time the rate of depreciation is same. If the rate is different, then within plant and machinery also there can be multiple blocks. How many? 15% machinery is also there, right? 20% machinery is also there. In 20%, which asset comes? Ships. Ships come. 25% is not there, right? 30% is there, like motor vehicle, which was purchased in 2019 or which is on hire, right? Then 40% is also there, and one more is there, which is 45%, right? That is an exceptional case, which was purchased in 2019, motor vehicle, and which was put on hire. Okay? So, yes.
Sir, what should we do after the class? Sir? Should we revise it regularly, sir? Or like take the book and during class?
Yes, during classes, I am giving you an homework today. What is an homework? You are just supposed to revise from the color book. That's it. Because detailed book we are anyways doing in the class. Okay, you don't have that much time to revise again. Detailed book doesn't make sense. You have to revise from the color book. So what are you going to revise today? You are going to revise today the first page. Okay, the first page, the second page, the third page. not the fourth page, because we have not done the special charging section so far. Okay, we will see that later. I have mentioned over here, not the fourth page. After that, you are going to see depreciation, this part, block of asset, rates, when it becomes half, definition till year. Okay, so it will hardly take half an hour. Every day, if you give half an hour, your subject will be easily revised with me only. Later on, don't worry. Later on, what I will be doing with you all, the way I have done it with all the batches so far. Okay, don't worry. Later on, I will be putting revision videos for you all. You will not get a single revision video for CA Final and Direct Tax in English. You will get plethora of them in Hindi, but you will not get in English. No teacher will put in English. You can check it on YouTube if you want. Okay. We are the only one who put English revision videos for our students. Nobody else. And not only our students get benefited, there are many other students who learn from somebody else and then get revised from us. So this is full English revision batch for you. Okay. Like if you go to the first revision video, you will get PGBP full revision over here. That too with all the timestamps. So if you are traveling somewhere, or if you are going to sleep, you can just take out 10-15 minutes and revise a good chunk of the portion in 10-15 minutes. Like you can see, PGBP revision. If you go to this right hand side, you can see general charging section. If you click on that, you will come to chargeability. This is of November 23 and May 23. Okay. But till now, there are no amendments. So you can follow this also if you want. Okay. But the same thing, I'll be doing it for you all also after the batch is completed. That is generally done in the last 4 to 5 months of the exams. I will not be able to do it right now because right now I don't have complete set of books also to revise. So I'll be doing this with you all. Don't worry. We'll be doing all these things. Apart from this, I have done lot of things for my South. I do equal treatment for my North Indian students and South Indian students. I don't do any kind of, I don't keep any kind of disparity between both of them. The revision videos are there. Then you will also find out that apart from revision videos, I also do separate amendment lectures, etc. if required. All those who do not clear, right now our batch is fully amended, so it is not required for you. Then you will also get that I also discuss all the ICI MCQs. ICI release their own MCQ booklets, so I discuss that also in English. I discuss all the RTPs in English. I discuss all the mock test papers in English. Apart from that, you will be surprised that what I have done in the last attempt, that I'll be continuing in the next attempt also. That we will discuss, we will do all the RTPs in the class that I've told you in the lecture itself. We'll be doing around 6 to 7 RTPs in the class. We'll be doing around 8 mock test papers in the class in the regular batch itself. And we are going to do what? Around 5 to 6 papers also in the class. But you will be surprised that then suddenly one day it came to my mind that how the hell a student will revise all those RTPs and mock test papers and exam papers a day before exam. So what I did this particular compilation in English also and in Hindi also of 19 papers in approximately 5 hours. In 5 hours, you will get the compilation of 19 papers over here. If you can see this over here. See, you will get it over here. RTP November 20, RTP May 21, RTP November. I have just discussed very fast at a lightning speed the important, all not important, all the adjustments ka effects, so that it is there in the student's mind. So if you see this slightly before examination, then it is great for you. And on the day of examination also, if you can take out 5 hours out of your total time, then you will be able to revise this also. You can also increase the speed to 1.25, so that can further reduce your time period. So we will be trying to do everything. We will try to keep a balance. I always believe in keeping a balance of practical knowledge, along with what we need to also be important to understand that we should be practical enough to understand that academically also we should be able to tackle all those things. Okay, so don't worry. As of now, what you do, whatever we are doing, just go home and revise from the color book. That's it. Okay, because the detailed book anyways we are doing it in class. Yes, in the study leave, if you have time, then you can read the detailed book once at your end if you want. Okay, and if you're comfortable with the color book itself, no need to go to the detailed book. Detailed book is given. The reason is, suppose after 3-4 months, if you're not able to understand any concept, then go to detailed book and read it in detail. Okay, but if your concepts are clear and you are well versed with the concept, doesn't make sense to go to detail book. It makes more sense to give more time to the question bank, which we are going to discuss after the chapter completes. It makes more sense that you do question bank twice rather than reading the concepts again and again. Okay, So that's it from my side for today. We'll be discussing the important parts of depreciation in tomorrow's lecture. Okay. Bye all of you. Take care.